in the system that I'm not
in that
familiar
rotation.
With. Avila or some of the other guys that they maybe like out of there, and that comes time that somebody could come up and be a successful start in the big leagues. But replacing Cole Reagans is not replacing Cameron or Lorenzen or Waka in the rotation. It's replacing an ace-level starter. As you pointed out, next year you might already have to replace a guy who finished in the top 5 for the Cy Young last year in Seth Lugo.
Yeah, I just assume he's not back on the team next year. And whether they trade him, whether the contract expires, I assume Lugo's not on the team next
It's still just a little too much. It's too optimistic, in my opinion, to assume that you would be able to do it. That's all. And make it work financially, because he's going to have more money on the table from a bunch of other teams, is my assumption at this point. And I think you assume kind of the same thing, that he can make more by opting out. And I don't blame Seth Lugo for doing that. You don't blame him for doing that. It makes a lot of sense that would be something that a smart, well-positioned business person would choose for themselves, especially a guy who's already played for other teams. It's not like he made his career and started his career as a Royal and wants to continue and live in Kansas City forever. You know, like Alex Gordon, when he had the choice of his free agency and eventually came back to Kansas City. It's not even that kind of positioning, man. It's just where he is. And so, yeah, it was incredibly disheartening. And it did not come at a good time. We'll talk about last night's results here a little bit, but not coming at a good time because the morale is at a current low.
I would agree. I mean, they're 500 right now, man.
Amongst Royals fans, and I would think morale would be in a tough spot team-wise because they're not playing well and now they're hurt. That's what stands out. You're not playing good baseball, and now you got to deal with injuries in addition to it. Something that, like, you can't really take much water on, especially in the pitching staff that's been carrying this team for a huge chunk of the year anyway. And so, yeah, I do get concerned about it. I hope for his sake, maybe it's something small. Again, they did not give any kind of timeline on it yesterday other than what you said, Gold, which is they're going to wait for some more imaging and just kind of see where that takes them, I guess.
Yeah, next week we'll have JJ Piccolo join us on the show. By then, I would imagine we will have an answer. We'll ask a little bit more about bigger picture stuff when it comes to Cole Reagan specifically. And as you said, we will talk about the way this series has gone against the New York Yankees. And it's been an embarrassing series against the New York Yankees. That's coming up in just a bit. But OTAs are going to be here before we know it. Minicamp is kind of wrapping up around the league and everything this week and today. And we're expected to hear from Andy Reid, maybe Patrick Mahomes later on today in the 1 o'clock hour. But ESPN was going through looming questions about some of the top quarterbacks in the league. And they were asking a bunch of them around Patrick Mahomes. Dan Graziano, who wrote this piece, says, what needs to happen for Patrick Mahomes' stats to return to elite level? Now, we have kind of hit on this a few times throughout the offseason a little bit.
It's good to see somebody else put it in writing.
And here's just the blurb, at least, from Dan Graziano, going through every NFL team's quarterback spot. Quote, well, it would certainly help if the Chiefs could protect him better. Can the combination of free agent signee Jalen Moore and first-round rookie Josh Simmons help shore up the tackle position? Will second-year lineman Kingsley Suamataia be better at guard than he was last season at left tackle? It goes on to say getting Rashee Rice back from his knee injury will help the wide receiver core, as should a full season from Hollywood Brown. The Chiefs may never again be as explosive as they were in the early Mahomes days with Hill, Hunt, and prime Travis Kelce, but the offense has shown it can be efficient and effective when the O-line is right. That has been where at least I have been on the conversation about, like, what is wrong, quote unquote, with Mahomes in the offense. I still put a majority of this on, can they get quality left tackle play? I think it's very obvious. If the wide receiver room is healthy, this group, I think Hollywood Brown, Worthy, and Rice, they can get it done, even with Travis Kelce at this point in his career. That, to me, plenty of weapons for your offense. I don't think it's a poor receiving room at all for 2025. But can they stay healthy, and can the obvious happen on the left side of the line? And that includes not just Jalen Moore or Josh Simmons being the real deal, but that includes that Kingsley or Mike Caliendo give them decent left guard play. We know you're going to have a dip in left guard play. You're not getting Joe Tooney level there.
No, but we didn't, they got less left guard play last year, and it did not hold them back, I guess has always been my argument there, right, Gold? For the final, 6 weeks, including the only time we noticed it was the Super Bowl. And I'm not even sure you noticed it there as much as you noticed it at the tackle positions or anywhere else on the field where they were kind of get beat up. But I told you that maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. At some point, the narrative will start to shift on Mahomes a little bit. Not here. We understand how great he is. He's been to 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. Not here. But nationally, it'll start to shift if he doesn't have one of those breakout numbers years again. And he's not better positioned. He hasn't been better positioned like this in a while. This is one of the deeper wide receiver units he has had. It might be the best overall wide receiver unit he's had. It's not top end, because when you had Travis Kelce in his peak and Tyreek Hill in his peak, I don't even care who the other guys were. Sammy Watkins and DeMarcus Robinson, whoever the hell was on the roster. That one was probably better at the top end of the thing. But top to bottom, they can kind of run him out 5-6 deep. The whole big question, sadly, consistently relies on the one idea, which is, can you keep him off his ass? And does he have the yips as it relates to poor offensive line play, in the sense that he is rushing things he doesn't need to rush, Gold? Because I do think there was some of that last year where he got beat up enough, Gold, that he was rushing things he didn't need to rush. And that's how he gets back to the elite level stats, by pushing the ball down the field, not rushing throws down the field, finding Xavier Worthy and others and Hollywood Brown and these guys 30, 40, 50 yards down the field for the first time in what feels like, 3 years? When was the last time it felt like the deep ball was a real part of the Chiefs' offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. 2 years ago, it was wide receiver personnel that limited that. Last year, it was offensive line, and then you ended up having to move Xavier Worthy into a different role once Rashee Rice got hurt and Worthy was still developing as a rookie. So, yeah, I think it's been a problem for multiple years. I don't think the problem in 2023 was the same problem that they had last year in 2020 or in 2024, if that makes sense. Like, I actually think it was different reasoning, but the result has been the same, to your point, at least down the field.
Yeah, and that's where it comes down to. And I still think it's more offensive line than talent now. The last 2 years, you could argue talent too, because they got hurt at wide receiver, and then they kept trying to throw to Xavier Worthy, but he was the only deep threat, and he was a rookie, and they weren't on the same page yet, and everything didn't kind of sync. The year before, they didn't have anyone to run deep. Their best deep threat 2 years ago was Kadarius Toney.
MVS. As well.
I mean, that's okay, but
that's my point, though. It was more of a wide receiver personnel problem a couple of years ago. I actually don't think the wide receiver personnel is the issue as it currently sits. It is whether, if you want to say the health part of it makes it an issue, fine. But I really believe if Patrick Mahomes is not going to have time, then we're going to be having the same conversation midway through this season, saying, why is the deep ball not there? And the wide receiver room, they're all there. Why are they not doing it? I mean, well, what's Jalen Moore and Josh Simmons doing on the left side of the line?
I would say some of this is based out of greed, in my opinion, and just like the desire to set him to a standard that is above. Because I can point out 2 years Joe Burrow's had, just like the last 2 years from Patrick Mahomes, 2 years before this where he certainly did. Josh Allen had 29 touchdowns and 18 picks 2 years ago. He only had 28 touchdowns and 6 picks last year, 3,700 yards. They didn't run it deep all year long, right? Now, he had more stretches than that than not. So is Patrick Mahomes. 3 years ago, Patrick Mahomes led the league in yardage and passing touchdowns. So it's not like it just went away. I think that there is a personnel part of this that has certainly been a large factor. What were you going to say, Drew?
Well, I think in just going, typically I would use, the Bengals as the example, because Matt Verderame
we'll talk about your Bengals in a bit.
Because Matt Verderame used that as the example of it. It didn't limit them from doing what they do with the healthy wide receiver core, which begs the question:
it did in other years.
If they're fully healthy, then it shouldn't stop Mahomes from being as good as he has been previously. But the Commanders didn't have that great of an offensive line. Jaden Daniels tore things up.
I think it was a combination last year.
CJ Stroud was struggling. He was, offensive line. That actually, I think that argument fits more for what C.J. Stroud struggled with. Then we'll see how this year goes. But if it's a fully healthy wide receiver core, and let's say Rashee gets suspended 4 games and then he's back, I don't think just the offensive line should limit Patrick Mahomes' ability, because he's that good of a quarterback to still throw the ball all over the yard, even if he has less time.
I think both the offensive line and the wide receivers haven't been good enough together the last 2 years. Because last year, maybe the wide receivers were good enough, but they were all hurt. So he didn't have anyone available to him. And the year before, he had bad wide receivers and a struggling offensive line. We make it seem like it was just one of two problems. I think that if Patrick Mahomes had last year's offensive line, but his wide receivers were Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, the results are better than what they were last year. And again, I point out that, I can find years for Joe Burrow and find years for Josh Allen in which the stats Patrick Mahomes put up last year are on par with those statistical seasons. We're making it seem like he's out here throwing 20 picks and 20 touchdowns and 3,000 yards. He threw 4,000 yards, 4,200 2 years ago, pretty much 4,000 yards last year. He's been at 27 and 26 touchdowns.
But you know how
and in
this
the
works.
low-
He's held the
Yeah.
higher standard, right? He's
Yeah,
held
they
the higher
expect
standard.
35 touchdowns, 12 picks.
It's just the way
and
that it looks.
4,500
Like
yards.
we've talked about this the last 2
Oh, yeah.
years. They've moved the ball totally fine. But in terms of executing touchdowns and in terms of seeing him actually show off the arm talent, it hasn't been there. And it's the way that they've just kind of run the offense. Maybe it's due to lack of wide receiver weapons. Whatever the case is, it hasn't looked the same.
For sure. Yeah, I just don't think it's all on Patrick Mahomes. It sounds like It sounds like there's a lot of people.
I think it's more on the Chiefs than it is Patrick. I don't blame Patrick Mahomes for any of it. I think it's the Chiefs. I think it's the team.
The great thing heading into the season, whether it was the Super Bowl performance or not, what I'm actually excited about here in 2025, I think clearly the national narrative is that Mahomes hasn't been as good. He's not the best quarterback, and the Chiefs' run is over. And typically, whether we're talking about Michael Jordan, whether we're talking about Tom Brady, and I mention those names because that's the category Mahomes has been compared to, and I think the category he is in as an athlete. When those guys are quote-unquote counted out, when those guys are told, yeah, you just don't have it anymore, usually those guys give a giant middle finger and make you look like an idiot, you collectively. Like, that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I agree. I definitely think that's a possibility. Real quick on the text line, we were talking about the Royals to start the show, and then I saw a few things related to the text line. Is Bob now taking shots at my song?
Wait, what?
Somebody on the text line said, "Don't let Bob get away with trashing your song." I got to take this from all sides. We already had the thing with Carrington yesterday. Now I'm getting attacked from two sides. I did. Somebody sent me this yesterday. I did happen to catch part of the drive yesterday, in which Carrington, I think, was trying to be very careful to not start beef with me, Drew. You ready?
Rob, the text line is alerting me that supposedly we have beef with the midday show and Cody Tapp. I don't have any beef with Cody Tapp. I'm perfectly fine. I hope that Cody Tapp and the midday show know that it was just all jokes and it's all love yesterday. I hope that they know that. I don't have any beef with Cody Tapp. Do you have beef with Cody Tapp?
Why does he keep saying my name so much?
Full name.
He wanted to make. I'm sorry to call you Cody Bancroft Tapp.
Yeah, why did he middle name?
He should have thrown that in the middle there.
All I know is the text line says, yes, the morning show is not a fan of your song.
Huh.
I mean, that's okay.
They said they're throwing shade, though. What's the difference here?
Well, I need to hear the audio. I don't know what they said.
You know what? That's fair. I can't be a judge. I didn't know what to say about Carrington until after, I had heard the audio. Oh, good. He called us a family. Families don't attack each other like that. I mean, my family maybe a little, but Drew said, maybe.
They attack each other.
My family does make fun of each other a lot.
However, I do think it was certainly Carrington threw you a very low blow, I would say, in his criticism.
That's it. Low blow.
It was the low blow that was.
Yes, it is okay to not like the things.
Yes.
What I want to know, like when you take unnecessary shots or make comments that I believe to be below the belt. Yes. Carrington took several below the belt shots, you would agree, right?
I think the one comment was weird. I will say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what the morning show said. Maybe they just said they didn't.
Maybe they just said, the song stinks. Maybe they just said, the song stinks. Cody thinks he has another good song and it stinks. Honestly, I don't know what they said, so it's hard for me to. I need the audio cut. Somebody, maybe Drew can go back and listen, or someone give us the exact
What hour was
quote.
it? If you can, whoever texted that, what hour was it in? And I'll try to find it.
Now
they said they didn't tell that they didn't go as far as CDOT with the changing the radio station.
Just making an honest assessment of the work. Okay, we can be okay then. We can be cool.
If they did call you out, you might have to drop a diss track for everybody else at the station except for Alex and
Just the two of you.
Yes.
Everyone else. Spec also complimented it, so I guess I can leave him alone.
Yes.
Someone says, if Bob has an issue with your song, Cody, I've got 3 words for you: Brett Veach Town.
He said it was the end of the show. Okay, the last 20. All right, I will try to find it.
Said he was firing shots last 20 minutes.
I got to hear this.
Okay. I guess we got to go round 2 today then. We got issues with everybody. I'm not even starting anything.
I mean, but yeah, you're gonna.
I haven't started
You're gonna
anything.
get everybody turning on us in the building, man.
I'm gonna make us the enemy.
Everybody's
I
gonna
gotta
turn
be
on
honest.
us.
It's gonna start feeling like we're standing alone here pretty soon.
Yeah.
If I start saying things about everyone else,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, some would say it's a laughing matter, though. I don't know. It sounds like you don't think it is.
That laugh, yes. I still say that's
we got the quote. Fesco mocked the song, called it Bush League. Oh,
Bush League. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Bush League, huh? I still need to hear it. The tone sometimes is what changes, you know? You got to hear it in context a little bit. So we'll see. Drew might find it here in just a little bit. We also need him to get us a U.S. Open leaderboard update here in just a few. Have you decided on the music, Drew, for the U.S. Open leaderboard today?
Oh, I didn't know you guys wanted.
I
music
mean,
or
usually
not.
you have like, you know, Masters music or something else behind it. I didn't know. We could just
I can.
do it live.
Yeah, we have
you
to
know?
have something underneath it, even if it's one of your beats, Drew. Your
Yeah,
own
actually-
beats.
That would
Yes.
not fit. That would not fit.
Of course it will.
No,
It's a
no, it
Drew
would
beat
not.
giving us Drew leaderboard updates.
No. Speaking of beats, I've got one that's going to come back from break. I think you guys are going to laugh at it.
Okay, nice. Fresh beat? New beat?
Fresh one.
We're gonna laugh at it.
Oh.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Laugh? Rob laugh?
I don't know about that.
I'm not going to say
Maybe.
anything else.
Okay.
You'll find out in.
All right, let's get
10
to it.
minutes.
Let's get to an update though.
Well, hang on. I'm trying to find some music.
I thought you had your beats ready.
No, I'm not doing it over a beat. It doesn't fit.
But you could like kind of rap it, you know?
Yeah.
It could be fun. Somebody says it's time for my
Here we go. U.S.
Not like us,
Open leaderboard
Here we go.
update
This
from
is-
Oakmont.
All right, the U.S. Open is underway from Oakmont, Pennsylvania. JJ Spawn currently the leader at 4 under par. He's off to a very good start, 13 under. KU's own Gary Woodland is solo
Wow.
second
There we
right
go.
now.
There we go.
Okay.
At 3 under par. Ludwig Oberg is one of many tied at 2 under par. He's tied for third. The biggest name is Rory McIlroy, tied for 7th currently at 1 under par. Bryson DeChambeau at even. Some other names as we go further down the leaderboard. Matt Fitzpatrick +3 on the day. He's off to a little bit of a rough start. Xander Schauffele as well. Not off to the greatest of starts. He's at 2 over par. Tommy Fleetwood, 2 over par as well. Hideki Matsuyama, all at 2 over par. Again, the conditions are very interesting. Stamp meter is running very quickly. The fairways are fast. Greens are fast. But the players are playing good so far. There
I was
some
going to say
worry.
this is a little lower than I was thinking the scoring was going to
There
be.
was some worry that, and we might see things maybe as the weather comes in. I look, there's a chance for rain potentially over the course of the next couple days. That might make the rough even nastier and everything like that as well. So something to follow over the next couple days. But JJ Spawn currently solo leader at 4 under par. He's got a birdie putt right now, actually, as I'm watching it on
Yeah,
the
we
TV
got it here as
screen,
well.
and he misses it. So he's still just the solo leader at 4 under par.
All right, keep an eye on Gary Woodland. That's what I'm excited about. Early going.
I did listen to.
Honestly, knowing his story this year, too, easiest guy to root for on the planet for this one.
I did listen to Philly accents, and
Oh, God.
Can't do it?
there was no. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to try.
You're not even an attempt?
The only thing that I saw that was funny that I can say is Werder. Apparently, they pronounce water Werder.
Werder. Oh. Well, I mean,
In
can
Boston,
you at
they
least
say
promise us that if like Oberg goes into the water, you'll say it that way? Like right as you're going into it, next scoreboard update, you'll just say
Ludwig Oberg just hit his drive into the Werder.
Werder. Yeah, give us
Werder.
that one. At least give us one word pronounced in the Philly accent. That's all.
Yeah, people are upset. They said the updates don't hit the same when Drew can't do an accent.
It's true.
I kind of
Listen,
agree.
I think, look, if it was a New York accent, I think I could.
You think you can do a New York
I think I could
accent?
body the New York accent. The Philly accent is a no. I listened to about, I literally, dead serious, spent about 10 minutes
Trying to
looking up
figure it out.
Philadelphia accents on YouTube, and I don't think I can do it.
It is very, very specific. Back to the song a little bit from the 816. Someone says, we can diss Cody singing all we want. We spend 4 hours a day with him. The other shows can't diss Cody. They don't spend as much time. They're saying
Facts.
we put in the time.
Out of their right to do it.
It's like being
Only
able to
they
make fun
can
of your
make fun
own.
of you. Yeah.
I can make fun of my kid. You can't make fun of my kid.
Yeah,
That's my kid. You know, there's a line drawn in the sand on that kind of situation. I actually kind of agree with that sentiment, you know? We're in this together 4 hours a day. You're safe.
All
We'll
right.
listen to the audio in the break.
Yeah, we'll find out about that. Up next, though, we are about a year away from one of the biggest events, maybe the biggest event. I don't think it's close, actually, happening in Kansas City. Where's the excitement at? When will it actually happen? We'll get into that coming up next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. That's right, 0% APR for a full 5 years on both Rogue and Pathfinders. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months or even 84 months for just 3.49% APR. Plus, get up to $6,000 rebate on Nissan Frontiers. These are some of the lowest rates we've seen all year. Don't wait, inventory's moving fast. And you'll have a hard time finding any Nissan dealer in Kansas City with a better selection. Go to Reiselman.com for complete details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
This Father's Day, spoil your dad with everything Gates Barbecue. Be sure to visit your local grocer for Gates sauces and seasonings. Both are delicious on meats, fish, chicken, veggies like broccoli and spinach, and on hot buttered popcorn, even as a topping for dips, or sprinkle Gates seasonings on chips and nuts to add that extra flavor pop. Nothing says Father's Day like a Gates party tray, sure to please everyone at the table. Be sure to prepare your Father's Day meal with Gates sauces and seasonings. So head to Gates Barbecue this Father's Day. Gates Barbecue. Thanks with love.
Go Yard all baseball season long with Underdog's Champions Game. Take a swing at making those baseball entries this season over at Underdog. It's one of the leading places to make all your sports selections, and you can play in your state on the Missouri side. Join one of the fastest growing sports games apps over at Underdog that you can play in your state. Millions of fans have already won billions playing at Underdog. Why not be next? Go ahead and play. Download the app. Choose which player to go higher or lower on your favorite stats. You can choose things like home runs, strikeouts, total bases, and so much more over at Underdog. Once your entry feels good, you can play with as little as $1. So get everything right, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Download the Underdog app today and sign up using promo code TAP to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAP. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See UnderdogFantasy.com/web deposit-match-terms. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Alex.
Hello.
We've been trying to track you down. I don't know if you've noticed that. Do you have any idea why?
Something to do with the radio thing.
Every month we're doing a giveaway. GiveMeTheVin.com.
Giveaway? What you giving away, man?
$25,000.
Alex Jackson of Pensacola, Florida is the latest winner of Give Me the Vin's Big Cash Giveaway.
Are you for real?
Every time that you sell a car to Give Me the Vin, you go into a drawing for that month. And dude, you won.
That's great, man. I'm having a baby boy in about 3 months. That's a lot of diapers, man.
Name him John Clay.
Okay.
No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
The Peace Lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3.
I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or in third-party delivery platforms.
So, your small business is outgrowing your garage. You could go online, find a space, and get catfished. Or you could work with an agent who's a realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
You made this?
Yeah.
You made this last night?
It includes Rob's laugh.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
Featuring our very own Rob Breton.
Drew started making his own custom beats and added Rob into this one.
Is that Rob's normal laugh?
I mean,
think so.
I think it is. If he thinks something's really funny, I would say yes.
Everybody's got a fake laugh, though. Let's not pretend like that's not the case.
Sure. I think that's his laugh.
You
Rob's going to be
he was-
very upset with us.
You're suggesting that he was fake laughing at Carrington's.
I was. I believe he was.
Jab?
I believe it was a performative laugh. It sounds too choppy.
He did do it twice in a row, though. Like within a matter
Textline
of
thinks your beat sounds like karate, like kid vibes.
this one in particular. Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I've
they got
seen
a new Karate Kid movie coming out.
A lot of your beats have like a, I don't know the right right word. Yeah, like have like I don't know like
Feel,
this one,
energy,
so the
sound.
The coolest part about this one is that little like theme there. I used like 8 different instruments to make different versions of that. Da, na, 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 na. Like I did. There's a choir one. There's mallets. There's choir. There's,
Garage Band Drew.
You already said choir. There's the other ones.
Garage Band
I
Drew.
could go down the line and play the other ones. You know.
We'll get to what has been a very frustrating
and
embarrassing series for the Royals against the Yankees. That's coming up in about 8 minutes or so. We'll talk about where the Royals currently sit, which is truly a 500 literally a 500 baseball team now after another embarrassing loss. Yep. So we're gonna get to that in a second. We are, did you know, a year away from the FIFA World Cup coming to Kansas City, and on Tuesday, June 16th of next year will be the first match that we have in town at Arrowhead. Remember, they're going to have 4 group stage matches here in town, plus a round of 32, and then a quarterfinal on July 11th of next year. So we're only a year out from this thing really kicking off. And I was trying to figure out, when do you think the city you'll sense the excitement? We're a year out, so I understand. I think it's going to be...
Not yet, even though it's only a year out, which is crazy.
I think it's going to be when the group are announced, right? When we know, all right, is Germany coming to Kansas City? Is pick your country, right? That when we know the group, therefore the potential matchups you could have, and potentially the way it could play out to who we could have in a perfect case scenario quarterfinal, that kind of stuff. I think that's when it becomes real. I understand there's people very hard at work for the last couple of years on this thing. There's a ton of planning going on.
A lot going on at Arrowhead now.
Arrowhead's doing some changes, some renovations to make it happen. Obviously, we've talked about the transportation aspect that has to be worked out, all of that kind of stuff. People want to know, when can you buy tickets and all that kind of stuff. But I think the real excitement will be when we know which countries are coming to Kansas City in the group that we're getting here.
Like I saw this stuff yesterday, and it was like nationwide, right? You'd see these little events in New York and LA and these other host cities, and you're like, yeah, I guess it's kind of cool. Like a year out from the event, obviously we were really excited. When it got announced it was going to be in Kansas City, I think I was out of town, funny enough. I think I was off the show.
Okay.
When we were talking in the lead up to it, but I think I was actually gone off the show the official day of the announcement. But that's a really cool thing to come to your city. And you and I had been talking about all the stuff that had been happening. The draft, and I don't know, maybe the Chiefs build a new stadium, a Super Bowl, or anything else. Airport, the things that make your city feel bigger and feel like they're progressing towards bigger things. This is still one of those events, but I've lost all steam and the excitement until you tell me the countries that are coming. Once you tell me, all right, it's Germany and Paraguay, and here's the group that's going to be playing games, playing matches in your city. Tickets go on sale next week. Get hyped. That's when I think it'll feel very real to me. Just like, here's the poster, here's the city song. Like, I appreciate that that's part of the rollout. I didn't get real hyped up for that. I don't know if that's wrong or not. It's fine. But, like, it's not, for me, it's the same time as you. It's not going to be a real goal until I know the teams who are playing.
Yeah, I think there's a big KC kickoff community event going on later on this month on June 22nd, ironically enough, at the Aspiria campus. But that's where the...
Why has that been brought up lately?
That's where the...
We'll talk about the stadium stuff yesterday.
That's where the Kansas City kickoff community event is going to take place. But, yeah, I mean, it truly is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime event for us here in Kansas City. So with that automatically brings the excitement. But I think a lot of people still want to know more details on how it's all going to play out. And, yeah, can they get tickets? How affordable are they going to be? When can they buy tickets and all that? And we're still months out, I believe, from that.
What do we think on the affordability? Are they still going to give? To my understanding, there is a certain amount locally that they make available before opening it up to everyone nationally. So, like, my hope is still, I'm not saying cheap. Don't mistake affordable for what the event is for cheap. Because I don't think going to a Chiefs game is cheap.
Right.
I would never describe it that way. I borderline wouldn't describe going to a Chiefs game as affordable for most people. It's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But what I'm talking about is secondary Taylor Swift concert ticket prices. I'm not trying to pay a G
Oh, the secondary market, there will be
Cup
some.
match. I'm trying to pay a few $100s to go to a World Cup match.
It sounds like on the secondary market there will be those crazy prices.
Yeah.
But initially, if you can get in, I don't know, lottery or whatever, however they're going to do it.
I think in the email for to tell me when tickets are available.
Sure, and I don't know how they're going to do it though. Is it a lottery system? Is it? I truly don't know. I haven't seen information on that. But I think the face value ticket. Yeah, maybe it's $100, $150, $200 for a face value ticket for the group stage, but that doesn't mean that's what you're going to get the ticket for because I don't know how difficult it's going to be. I will say, depending on how things just go in the world over the next year as well, it might dictate where the ticket pricing is and how many people are actually coming into the United States and coming to Kansas City. That can also swing what kind of ticket prices we're going to see, and a lot of external factors that go into that.
Yeah, for sure. So. And again, depending on what group you get here, we know that certain countries. This is just like. We don't pay attention to it, but every 4 years, but you'll notice it now. Some countries travel better to see their teams in the World Cup. If we manage to get Brazil coming to Kansas City for their group stage matches, probably going to be a crowd.
People are talking about renting out their houses
which
for
I do
a
not.
month.
I don't think it's going to happen at all. If the U.S. managed to come here,
the U.S. is not coming to Kansas City.
Talk about renting their houses out
We're
for a
not
month?
getting United
Would you
States
let me
to
do the
Kansas
show remote if I could rent my house out for the month?
Why wouldn't you just? Why would that regard?
Where would I stay?
You just come in the studio that
Yeah,
you
I was
work
gonna
at.
say,
Why would you have to work
live in the
remote?
studio?
I would just go
Why would you have to
to
work
some other
remote?
city.
Why would you have to work remote? You'd be in Kansas. Come to
No,
work.
I'm
You wouldn't
saying
be
I'd
allowed
leave the
to
city.
work in your house.
It's not the same thing. I was like, why would that impact you not
Where would I
coming in?
stay? My
Well, then
in-laws?
don't rent out your house if you don't know where to stay. No, but people are going to
my
rent
in-laws' house?
People will rent out their house during the World Cup next year. Absolutely. I've
What could
heard
you get
multiple
for?
people.
I mean, what could you?
Thousands of dollars.
Like-
Thousands for the whole month. Thousands. Yeah. Depending on your house location, how nice of a house, you can get probably 10,000 or more.
My house is it's a normal house.
I don't know.
You know, I don't live in a mansion.
The most decks north of the river.
I will say, beat me in the deck count. Good luck. You know, good luck. They're not all gigantic, and but good decks, quality decks, at least on that end. So maybe that.
I'm really intrigued to see what I think you're right. I mean, when do they announce the group stages though? Like when is that? announcement, how far ahead, because obviously all the teams have to qualify before it's announced.
Sure.
We've already got, I think, 10 teams, 10 countries qualified. Maybe
Remember,
12?
it expands this for this one, so there'll be 48 teams. There
Yeah,
used to be
there's more
32.
teams.
There'll be 48 countries, I
And
should
Canada,
say.
Mexico, and the United States are already in it as host countries, shared host countries.
And I think they already announced the opening match of the World Cup is in Mexico City, actually, and then the final is in New Jersey or the Giant Stadium, basically MetLife. And then the U.S. men's national team's first match, I think they already said that'll be June 12th in L.A.
The U.S. is already in, hence why we've seen them lose 4 straight matches with Pochettino as their coach.
Yeah, you were telling me it's not looking good.
Rob is a little bit worried. They're not playing anybody, though, which, again, I don't think you can look at what Pochettino's done and be like, oh, yeah, U.S. men's soccer is in a really bad place because they're losing.
Shouldn't they be playing together to maybe get better at soccer rather than I don't care if the match doesn't matter. Shouldn't playing help them?
I think this.
I understand they're playing somewhere. I understand.
I think it's part of the problem, though. Is this club World Cup that they're having over the summertime?
They can't give away tickets in Miami for that. Have you seen that? That they're literally giving. So Messi's playing for in the club FIFA World Cup or whatever that's going on. Their tickets are $4.
Yeah,
to go to Miami.
They're giving tickets away to the local college. They can't get anybody to go.
I think it's because people, whoever designed this, tried to make it be like, well, this is for the best club in the world. No, that's the Champions League. We've already got a tournament for that. You're just trying to claim it. Also, Seattle Sounders is in the tournament. Sorry, they're not the best club in the world. But teams like PSG, Juventus is playing. But Weston McKennie, a starting midfielder for the country, plays for Juventus. He's probably playing for Juventus during the summertime. Why would he play for Team USA now when in 2 weeks he's going to be playing for Juventus anyways? They're already. Their break in between the season start and end is already getting filled up by this Club World Cup. So some of these players that are Americans who would start for the starting 11 are just not going to play because they're already invested in, 1, vacation time because they want it, or 2, this Club World Cup that they're going to be playing in. So
I understand that this
I get the point, but
take this with a heavy dose of I'm an American and I've consumed sports as an American pretty much this entire time.
Here we go.
It's so weird how soccer works. You're just away from the team that you play for a month. Then you're back with them. Then you're on loan. You can just be borrowed.
Right.
The whole system is so wonky.
Yeah. It's an international system.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
That's what it is.
It's a global system.
And so, it always comes off as I can't even track half of this. He's talking about so you playing for the U.S. or Juventus, or are you just on vacation because normally this is when you'd be on vacation? It's I can't even track it. It's too much.
I think part of our problems with tracking it too are that we're on the opposite calendar. Because MLS doesn't want to compete with the NFL, they run their schedule during the summertime where no other big league runs. None. The Premier League is off right now. MLS is in the middle of their season. Every other big league is in the off season right now, except for MLS. So I get why it's hard to track.
World Cup, 363 days, 13 hours, 16 minutes to go.
The countdown begins.
Oh, you got an actual countdown clock.
I do. It's on the Kansas City World Cup.
Based on a couple things I read, it might be November, December when the field's set.
Makes sense. All right.
That's when you can get excited, Cody. That's when you get
and the calendar turns to 2026. You know it's coming up this summer. And honestly, for Kansas City, for selfish purposes, I don't know, hit me after the date of the Super Bowl. February, whatever day the Chiefs play in the Super Bowl again, after that
we'll have plenty of conversations.
A couple days after the parade, maybe, then I can start getting real into it.
Well, plenty of conversations, too, because it's going to impact how the Royals' schedule goes next year, too. They're going to have to be on the road for a long time. They're going to their schedule's going to be front-loaded or back-loaded.
The Spurs rodeo trip or whatever that was for all those years.
The Royals' schedule is going to have to be altered because they're not going to have Royals games going on that month that the World Cup is going on. So, yeah, there's all that kind of stuff that'll sort itself out.
You guys are already talking about parade as if it's going to happen. Jeez, all right.
I can safely say that about Chiefs fans and the Chiefs team in general. But last night, I will say, more than any other point this year, I could sense it, and I think everyone else could too, which is after that loss last night, I felt an all-time low of morale amongst Royals fans. It felt like the air had officially been sucked out of the room. They were coming off a loss in which it wasn't close. We were talking about the fighting or the Michael stuff or all this other stuff, and just hey, let's see.
Of course, that didn't happen. By the way,
and just losing would have felt different, but they just got worked over again, and the Reagan's news that he's back on the IL. It felt like the worst any fan had felt all year last night after that loss. This is the lowest point I feel like of the season as a fan.
Because if you're sitting there and saying, hey, what did you expect? The Yankees are just a better baseball team. Sure, you don't expect to lose by 6-8 runs every single night, though.
Yeah.
And that's what's been happening. That's why it's been embarrassing that after you lost by 8 runs on Tuesday night, that last night, that's the type of performance that you got.
Until the bottom
and
of
I
the
get it. The Yankees are just flat out better. Let's call it like it is. They own the Royals. They've won 7 in a row. I hate saying it, but it's reality. And until the Royals can win one of these things, it's going to be that way, and it sucks. It flat out sucks. And now that they are actually a 500 baseball team, I agree with you, Cody. I think now is the lowest point for fans of the season because they're a loss away from dipping below 500, and then you wonder, okay, now how does this impact the way they should approach the rest of the season? I still believe it is too early for you to just flat out say today they should just sell everything at this point. It's
I'm sure
over.
you got texts from friends saying that last night.
I was having a full-blown conversation with a couple of my friends about it last night. You know, it's June 12th. It's not trending in a great direction. And look, I've told you, if they are 5 or more out of a playoff spot and it's July and we're near the deadline, then I will be all about considering selling pieces looking ahead to the future. But I'm still not there. A lot of these conversations about selling, buying, all this is going to sort itself out. If you think this team is done and you think they're dead in the water, I know you're not saying that.
It'll prove itself in 3 weeks,
that'll
4
set
weeks.
Yeah, like if you're like,
I don't think that yet, but I can see why the morale's at like, this is the worst I felt about the team.
Sure.
And their ability to make the playoffs all year,
If you think that's what's going to happen, fine. Well, then that'll sort out the trade conversation. They don't have to make a decision today where they're at. No team is making that decision. But the concern now is we know the offense has been this way the whole year. Now you're starting to see the pitching leak a little bit. And that is where you get into this situation where you're at now, where over the last 2 weeks or so, you've been a losing ball club, and you're now in danger of slipping below 500 if you lose tonight. If you can't salvage one.
What are their odds to make the playoffs right now?
I can get you the latest number.
Yeah, I just like the more it, and that's it, and again, salvage the one, win the series over the weekend, and people can once again take a deep breath and be like, well, they're still a 500 team, and it's not early anymore, but you're not so far out of playoff contention that there's not, like the possibility of it. According to FanGraphs, they've only got a 26.3% chance to make the postseason. Tigers have a 97%, Twins 60%, 38% for the Guardians. Over there.
FanDuel, the Royals to make the playoffs now, they're plus 220.
Okay, so 2-1 to make the playoffs. And look, so that, I don't have to send myself into full-scale panic, but I'll be lying with you. You sit on your couch last night at 9:30. This is the worst I felt about it. The pitching's come back to earth a little bit. Now I don't know when Cole Reagans is going to pitch again this year. If he pitches again this year, I can't have that answer until they get more tests done. The offense has Jack Caglione in it. He's got a 4-game hit streak, but it doesn't seem like it's come to life just yet. In the first week he's come around.
Yeah, they got a 38% chance to make the playoffs.
If Cole Reagans doesn't come back, do they not make it?
Urseg's back.
If he is announced out for the year, is there any? What chance do you give him to make it?
I don't know. I mean, less.
I think 30% is a pretty good number right now.
Even still with Reagans, if Reagans is done for the year.
Yeah.
I mean, they still got a lot of pitching, and at least now they're getting Urseg back. But yeah, it was an all-time low morale moment for the year. And you and I talked about this going into the year. I think you were talking about it with Spec before the show. This team doesn't make the playoffs back-to-back very often. I'll take a playoff appearance and be okay. We thought that they should compete for a division. That appears to be kind of lost at this point.
Right.
And so, but now we're just talking about hey, get yourself back in the playoffs. Let's fight for this thing. Let's start getting on a winning streak again like you did a month ago.
They're 2 games out of a playoff spot right now. And someone on the text line said what you were just alluding to, which is, so what if we make the playoffs? We can't be the Yankees during the playoffs anyway. So this is, and this was part of the group chat I was in last night too. And I totally get it. And I think the expectation of sports fans in Kansas City, as we've said, has changed since the Royals won theirs, but obviously the Chiefs have been winning championships. Totally get it. And the frustration that exists. My only pushback will still be, since when did we now say making the playoffs, though, if it means that you don't think they can go on a run and win a championship, which, by the way, by nature of the MLB postseason, it's just not how you should operate. But since when did we say, well, if they can't make the World Series, who cares? Since when did that become a thing? As you just said, Cody, in the last 35 years, basically, since I've been alive, they have only made back-to-back postseasons one time. I'm not saying that wasn't. My bar was also for them to win this division. But all of a sudden, if your point is just that, well, we're not going to win anyway in the playoffs, what's the point? That to me, in baseball, is a flawed, idea of what small market baseball is. We can have expectations that you want them to do something more, but all of a sudden now we're saying, well, don't make the playoffs if you can't win it anyway. This is the Royals are not the Steelers in the NFL stuck in mediocrity for 10 years. The Royals have been.
I'd love to be stuck in mediocrity for 10 years.
The Royals have been
89 wins.
The Royals have been garbage for most of the time. Let's just call it that. That's what they've been
for a huge chunk of our lives. Yeah,
this is not the same as they made the playoffs for 7 years in a row, and I'm sick of it, and they're just not doing anything with it.
I'd love to be having that conversation.
That's not how baseball works. It's not the NFL. Now, if you want to make the point that they shouldn't be aggressive and buy, I'll listen to that. If they are
for the future of stay in the
jeopardizing,
mix.
If they are 5 or more games out near the deadline, I don't want them trading pieces that could be helping in 2026 and 27 just to help this team squeak maybe into it this year. No, I don't want that. I'm with you there. But this idea that now it's well, they're not going to win in the playoffs anyway, so who gives a damn? I don't get that logic.
Not in a small market. Not in a small market. Not in any way. You know who else's logic I don't get? Old Cashout Bro. Tough
he's struggling now.
Loss for the cash out last night as the Drew's Pacers take game 3 of the NBA Finals. We'll talk about the actual game a little bit later on. But Drew had a chance to go over to Bleacher Report's website where he was caught up with after the game, where a cash out is still on the table. He can still take money, tens of thousands of dollars, and this was his response.
Not the result you were looking for tonight, but a big one tomorrow for the Oilers. What's your thoughts?
I totally agree with that. Tonight, obviously, would have loved to get a win, but really not the biggest deal. I have a lot of faith in this team. I think America does as well. So we're good on the Thunder. Not a big deal. Tomorrow, must win. Must win. Got to come out, tie it up, go back to Edmonton. It's the only way. Florida's a great team, but Edmonton's better. They're better, and they're going to win in 7. Mark my words. Write it down here.
Is he suggesting America's rooting for him or the Thunder?
I have no idea.
I think he suggested they're rooting for Edmonton.
No,
America. He's talking about the NBA Finals.
America.
I thought he was talking about the Oilers.
America would not be rooting for the Canadian teams. I can promise you that. So that's definitely
even
not that.
Florida, that armpit of a state.
I think though. One, he's in big trouble. He's in big trouble. The cash out offer's down to $60,000. If you haven't been following the story, he needs the Thunder to win the finals.
Take the 60!
And the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup in order for his 5-leg parlay to hit to win $270,000. He's had cash out offers for $123,000. Now it's all the way down to $60,000. He's screwed.
Would you take the 60 right now?
I still would, but we all know he didn't take 123. He's not taking 60. He's clearly going to either win 270 or he's going to get nothing. That's where this thing is at now.
There's still $60,000, and you're losing this bet.
I'm so convinced
you're going to lose this bet. Just take the $60,000. I know I've said some mean things about you, but if for some reason you catch this video, take the $60,000.
I'm convinced as long as he's able to go to these games and everything, he's not cashing out because he knows that goes away if he cashes out.
Yeah, he's going to get nothing.
It doesn't matter to him, Cody, which I think also
I'm back on the rich kid
promotes
theory,
your theory of that. The fact that it doesn't sound like he actually cares. Like he thinks he's going to win, but if he loses, it's not that big of a deal to him is what it sounds like.
Before this game, there was a video of him before the game saying, cash out's 80. He's like, and then they're asking him if he's going to take it. He's like, oh man, I'm greedy. And I don't know anybody who grew up with no money or has money who talks about 80 grand, 120 grand, like that, Drew. Like if you grew up with no money, you don't talk about I'm greedy. I want more than 80,000.
Yeah.
Someone says, Gold, you're wrong. Everyone but those Florida folks are rooting for Edmonton. Is that true?
I think he was talking about the hockey series.
Someone explained to me the logic there. Is it just because everything's, what's his name, needs to finally win a Stanley Cup, and they just want him to win? Canada hasn't won a Stanley Cup, I know, in a very long time. I'm just confused. Why would United States sports fans be rooting for the Canadian team over the American team? Someone has to explain the logic there. I honestly, I don't know. Is there a backstory that I'm missing? Is it just they want to see what's his name get a Stanley Cup?
I don't know if it matters to them as much because it's not a country
Or
representation.
do people just
thing.
not like the Florida Panthers because you're kind of a newer franchise, and it's like what's the thought process there?
Man, I'd be sick as a fan if
Someone says Edmonton, incredible city, deep hockey history. Florida sucks blank. I don't disagree, but I've never been to Edmonton. I'm just confused why. If it was, I don't know. Is it we had the whole world thing? People don't care about that in hockey as much anymore. I thought that was the whole thing that made the whole USA versus Canada hockey thing fun. But when it's the NHL, we root for. It doesn't really matter.
I don't think it matters as much.
Okay. No, I don't follow the NHL. I legit don't know. I just assumed that we would be rooting for the American team over the Canadian team. But
I'm kind of with you.
I wonder how many American players are on Edmonton's roster. I couldn't tell you. But.
Good on your Pacers last night, though. What's Tyrese Halliburton's contract looking like? Because he's getting a supermax, one way or the other at this point now.
I think he signed one recently.
Someone says he's at America wants the Thunder. That would make more sense.
That's what I thought he said.
I truly don't know. I honestly, it just doesn't make any. Why would America be rooting for the Canadian team?
Tyrese already got extended.
KC, man. Screw Indiana. What's that?
Tyrese already got extended.
Oh, okay.
5-year, $240 million.
What happened?
I was asking. I said, has he already signed a supermax? Because if not, he's going to get one. Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah. The supermax thing is weird because you have to make an All NBA team in order to do so. Tyrese did, but the fact that he's already signed the contract is very nice.
Yeah.
Their big problem is going to be retaining Miles Turner, figuring out what to do with Pascal Siakam. Those are the two big ones. But hey, Indiana's always been counted out. It's just like Kansas City. It's the flyover. It's a flyover city. Nobody pays any attention to them.
I mean, so is Oklahoma City, though. Like it's not.
Oklahoma?
This is not like this isn't.
I was just joking.
This isn't Indiana going up against an LA team. It's Indiana versus Oklahoma.
And the fact that people still think America wants Oklahoma City to win, even more so to this point, if people hate Indiana.
I think he was
reason.
suggesting not that America wanted the Thunder to win, but America wants him to win. And I'm here to tell you, I don't. I don't want to do it.
How many people
we gotta
want
go.
him
We
to
are
win, though?
way over. Up next, we're going to talk about the stadium bill that passed out of the Missouri House yesterday. So where does it leave us for the Chiefs and Royals? That's coming up here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-414-3221. 800-414-3221. 800-414-3221.
Baseball season is in full swing, and that means the summer heat is coming. The guys at Climate Control have been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years and know how to get your cooling system ready to handle our scorching hot summer weather. Stay cool and comfortable this summer. Call Climate Control today at 816-265-2830 and schedule your AC system tune-up for just $59. Don't wait. Visit ClimateControlKC.com today. Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Name That Famous Father is an exciting interactive promotion hosted by 96.5 The Fan and Hy-Vee, where listeners will test their knowledge of famous fathers from various industries. Each day, they'll hear clues on air and have the chance to guess the famous father. The more they listen, the more chances they'll have to win $500 Hy-Vee gift card to treat their dad to everything he might need for Father's Day. From cards and gifts to barbecue supplies and more. After 5 qualifiers are selected, one will be chosen to win a $500 Hy-Vee gift card for Father's Day.
Honey, I absolutely love how Powell Exteriors Casey is transforming our home. We can't stop now. The new deck and James Hardy siding has the neighbors asking questions. I told them contact Powell Exteriors Casey. They'll listen, assess your needs, offer solutions, and super easy financing at 0% for 18 months on everything. Siding, windows, decks, and custom covers, entry doors, roofing, and more. Check out their work on Facebook and Instagram.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the job delivered. Large orders of lumber, doors, windows, paint, plumbing, anything the job needs, all from one partner. Get it today with same-day delivery. Get it tomorrow with next-day delivery on 50,000 plus products. Or get it on your timeline with scheduled delivery on everything from framing to flooring. It's time to get your whole job, all your jobs delivered. Ask about all our new delivery options at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or in third-party delivery platforms.
So, your small business is outgrowing your garage. You could go online, find a space, and get catfished. Or you could work with an agent who's a realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get to the trash of the day.
Sometimes I think some of you on the text line are like hitting a pin a little too early in the day or something with some of these takes. I gotta say.
Hey, yo.
I gotta say. Sometimes I feel like too early in the day.
913-586-7965.
It's only 11:04 a.m. It's too early for me for some of these takes.
Like what?
There's one in particular that suggested, I can't tell if it's suggesting trading both or suggesting trading one.
Okay.
But they definitely said that they got to look at the possibility of trading Vinny and Caglione to fix their problems. And I'm like, but those will create so many more problems. That's going to create so many more problems, Drew.
I think maybe he was saying one of them.
Because they play a similar position? I don't agree with that either.
I think that was...
That's less crazy.
I think that
but I also still hate it.
I think that's what the texter meant.
Not trading both?
Trading two of maybe your three best hitters for 2026 to help you in 2026 just doesn't compute.
Pass.
We also now have people texting in CAG sightings. We are not going to be reading those on air. The guy can have some privacy, but I appreciate that.
Well, just like throughout the city?
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to just say, oh, by the way, he's at this place right this second. People are texting in. We're not going to get the thank you for texting in. Not going to share that.
That's where he was, just like on a random Thursday?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Why not?
All right.
We'll let the guy live a little bit.
I go to that very store sometimes,
Do you?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were that kind of guy.
Who among us, doesn't...
I thought you... I didn't think you went there. Yeah.
It varies. Less there than the direct competition.
Okay.
But the in-laws make it available to go there as well.
Someone says, I have a picture to prove it. Oh, I'm not saying you're making it up. I'm just like, I'm not going to say where he's at on air.
DM it to me on Twitter. I want to be confirmed. We know how he spent his off day. He said he spent his off day looking for a place to live and hunting for cars.
That I knew.
Classic Jack Caglione. He said that himself, obviously.
Yeah, that I was well aware of. I know exactly where he was on Monday or whatever with the card stuff. But anyway.
He probably went to a couple of different spots.
Anyway,
someone says, "Don't tell Dusty. Don't need him. He'll be on CAG's watch here pretty soon.
Speeding to the location, perhaps. All right. Yesterday, as expected, I think, based on our conversation with Jonathan Katz of Fox 4, the Missouri House ended up passing that stadium bill, which will open up mechanisms at the state level to finance up to 50% of a renovated Arrowhead and a project if the Royals want a new stadium, presumably in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. It now goes to the governor's desk. He was a proponent of this. He's going to sign it. It's going to happen. So what does it mean now? It just means all the options are firmly on the table. If the bill never passed, then Missouri's path was going to be pretty much impossible. This is a huge deal to keeping the Chiefs and Royals in Missouri. Now, there still has to be the local component. For the Royals, it still means the city of KC-Mo has got to come up with a plan to get the financing to make this thing happen. It means for the Chiefs, Jackson County, potentially a vote again on the Chiefs' end to keep them in KC-Mo. That's where we're at now. And then, of course, we know Kansas is just kind of waiting and hanging out with their offer that expires at the end of the month, the Star Bonds. However, if they think a deal is close, based on what we heard from Jonathan Katz over at Fox 4, there's a group of legislators that are part of like this committee or whatever that they can extend it, not a year, but they could extend it if they wanted like a month if they needed to buy some time. So every single option is now firmly on the table. This is why the Royals and Chiefs, as we said, when the vote failed last April, they were the biggest winners of it failing, despite the embarrassment that night, because they get the leverage both sides of the state line, and now they have all this money from Missouri on the table. They got the Star Bond offer from Kansas. It's going to come down to truly where do they want to be, and then also can KC-Mo deliver on the Royals' end, and then can Jackson County voters, if it gets to that, end up passing? Do the Chiefs want to go to a public vote? Because I think that still is going to have to happen.
I guess a lot of this comes down to, yes, it is. Based on anything I'm hearing, there's still, at least the Royals are still going to need other funding mechanisms. Although I thought Ketz pointed out something really interesting about that, which is it's up to 70% in Kansas, which means they actually still have to sell the damn bonds in order to fund it. So like they can't guarantee the Royals and Chiefs 70% for sure. They can tell them we can get you up to 70%. In the best case scenario in which we sell all the bonds, we'll get you there. And look, I'm sure they're optimistic that they can get this thing done. The big questions that now remain. One, is this secret money faucet I believe Quentin Lucas has been dangling via social media actually available? Time to put your money where your mouth is, right? A little bit. Because he's been making this point that we've always been close and we believe we have funding mechanisms to unlock endless money. He didn't say that, but like he was pretty optimistic about it on social. We have mechanisms through the city to fund certain process of this that do not require a public vote. We don't have to go to Jackson County. We don't have to ask people. So now would be the time, by the way. If you have that money, they've got the 50% from the state. Now would be the time to start showing the Royals where that money is coming from. The Chiefs is an interesting one, and this is why I think the Star Bonds thing is interesting. They expire. They've admitted they can extend them gold. But what do you do if the Chiefs want to see how a second Jackson County vote goes? You just leave Kansas waiting? Will they extend them forever at the possibility that the Chiefs might still go there?
Let's say the Royals commit to going downtown. They get the financing figured out at the city level, and then Kansas's only option becomes the Chiefs. Well, then the answer is they'll be patient. They're gonna pass up the opportunity.
Yeah.
No, they can claim there's a deadline, but if it comes down to they already know the Royals are staying, let's say in Missouri, you're telling me that they're not gonna still wait for the Chiefs to come over? They can act like there's this firm deadline. That's fine, but you're telling me if there was still a chance the Chiefs were your only option to get to come over the state line to Kansas, that you're just going to say, sorry, never mind, actually, all this effort and time, we actually don't really need. No, if they actually think they can still get them, they will try to do everything possible to get them. But
I know, but like that makes it like not a firm deadline.
Well, I don't think it is.
It's over. I know. I'm not saying you do. I'm just like, Kansas is trying to be like, hey, June 30th, that's it.
Yeah.
And then we're out, and we know that they obviously have mechanisms in order to do that. I still don't know where anyone's going. All I know is that this keeps Missouri in play. Like, that's the biggest thing out of yesterday. This keeps Missouri in play. I will say, does anyone else feel like that there is I think, unfounded optimism that a solo Jackson County vote of just the Chiefs would get passed? I feel like everyone's like, the Chiefs could just go ballot alone all by themselves and get that Jackson County money. Now I'm like, it lost by 16 points. We thought the reason why it lost by 16 points was the fact that the Royals were just attached to it. And also, this is the other big question I would ask is, how much money are you asking from the city? And how much money are you asking in a sales tax incentive? Technically, if Missouri is footing 50% of the bill now, you shouldn't need anywhere close to that 8-cent sales tax anymore. Are you coming down on that, or are you coming back for the 8th cent and you're trying to get back closer to because now the project price has gone
3/8,
way
right?
Or 3/8, sorry, 3/8.
Is this assuming that they're only upgrading Arrowhead?
Or in Missouri, the Missouri
Jackson County would be a
renovation. Yeah, if they're getting a brand new stadium, that's where Kansas would come into play.
I think that it's all about the upgrades then, because the big upgrade, what was the parking? I mean, it was the walkway and the parking. Was it? That was
and the stuff for the super wealthy.
And let's just be real. None of us have seen what a new renovated rendering would be, but
I know they have some, I think.
A big chunk of the renovation is still going to be new suites and stuff. I mean, that's just the reality of how this stuff works. I mean, anybody thinking that they're just going to scrap the suites and it's just going to be comfortable seats in the 300 level, that's not what's going to happen.
We actually decided to add cushioned seats upstairs for everybody.
That's not going to be the case.
No.
I don't know, man. It's someone was pointing out, though, the Royals, for them in particular, they would prefer that be the team that stays because that means downtown baseball. People are mixed on that. We've gone through this over and over. You could do the suburb thing and have your version of the Battery like Atlanta if you live in the suburbs.
That's a personal preference thing, not the other way. I still, as I've told you, like the idea of sharing the cost. I like the idea that both Missourians and Kansans enjoy the Chiefs and the Royals and going to the stadiums and doing the stuff. I like the idea of a split cost between the two states. That makes me comfortable. I'm not going to be offended if they end up in both or either. I just want downtown baseball because I think it's cooler.
How much do you think, when you look at the decision-making process, if you're Clark Hunt for the Chiefs, is, one, do you think that it can pass in Jackson County again? Then there's also, we know, Nate Taylor's reporting from The Athletic that Clark Hunt now is open to having a dome, or wants a dome because of what it could bring. That means Kansas. But then also still the balance of what Arrowhead is to him and how the Chiefs view Arrowhead. We know the history of Arrowhead Stadium. You and I have talked about the difference between Lambeau and Arrowhead. Do people outside of Kansas City, Do the Chiefs view
It's
it
the
as
only other old
do
stadium
they
that's cool.
view it the same way that they view Lambeau Field? Do they believe that's the case? And if so, that's where the renovation comes in. If they don't think that that's where it's at, then why would you renovate a building at the age? That's where I've been at. Is I don't agree with putting the kind of money they would need to put into a stadium of its age. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that because we all have unbelievable memories at Arrowhead. I've shared them on this show. You guys know, for sporting event I've gone to ever was at Arrowhead, and the memories and the tailgating and all that is incredible. But the building itself, through renovation, are you trying to make it Lambeau for the next 30 years? Are you trying to do what they did in Soldier Field? Or are you thinking, hey, it's just an old building at this point in time?
Can I ask, I guess, a follow-up for like what fans want? Not necessarily you, Gold, just everybody.
Yeah, that top text
913
is not possible.
5867965. Yeah, the retractable roof idea to the current stadium.
That's not happening.
They've explored that before. But I guess part of this is I am part of what I believe to be the new consumer base that will slowly infiltrate the sports world. And I'm not saying I need a hot tub or whatever that like filth pool was in Jacksonville. But the idea being that it's not just the game is the only portion of it. You're making a day of it. You spend a lot of money to go there. The Chiefs have openly said dozens of times, Mark Donovan has said on this show before, that there is no viable way to do anything around the stadium. So it would just be for the building. No business, no things to do. They're not going to cocoa water, like we talked about. The only way I do it is if I get Cocoa Key Water Resort back. None of that's happening near the stadium. They've openly admitted they've run the numbers 1,000 different ways. There's no development going around it. That's the part of the renovation that really gets me there, is that every team that's been around there has openly admitted, we're not doing anything around it. It would just be about the building. There'd still be nothing to do there. Other than, like, I don't know, that turf field they built in the first one or whatever, there's not going to be like title towns. You mentioned Green Bay. They have changed the way that area is structured.
Yeah, it was an amazing
now
experience when I went up to
as in a
Lambeau
way
a
to
couple
like,
years ago.
yeah, as a way to try to kind of like keep it. And so that has always been a big hang up for me in the renovation part of Arrowhead is I just got to accept 30 more years of it's about going to the game. And look, I bet there are a lot of Chiefs fans that say, yeah, I do. I like to go spend 3 hours out there tailgating and then go into the stadium and then leave. I don't need all the other stuff.
Yes.
And that's okay.
913-586-7965. Someone says, imagine if the St. Louis Cardinals moved to Illinois. Laughable idea, right? What's the difference between the Chiefs? Well, first of all, I would say if all of a sudden, this won't happen because Jefferson City is big Cardinals fans, but if the St. Louis Cardinals wanted a new stadium, let's say 20 years from now.
They just want to renovate theirs.
They do. But let's just say, because we're playing hypotheticals now based off the text, if the St. Louis Cardinals wanted money for a new stadium and the state told them to F off, and then they had a public vote and the voters said, no, we don't want you, I think you are kidding and lying to yourself if you think the St. Louis Cardinals wouldn't be willing to explore other options as well. I know it doesn't sound right.
At least threaten it.
Like, you're acting like, well, the Cardinals would never leave St. Louis. And how could the Royals also are not leaving Kansas City? They're staying in the KC Metro. That's why it sounds different to you. If the Royals don't stay in Missouri, they're still staying in Kansas City metropolitan area. But we've seen the reason why I know that St. Louis example isn't as good as you think is the laughable idea at one point of, the San Diego Chargers, they're not going to move to LA. They're not going to leave. You know why they left? Because they couldn't get a stadium done in San Diego. So yes, just because St. Louis it's the same deal, man. It's the same deal. Any city that can't get a project done for a new team, the reality of where we live in with public finance stadiums, unfortunately, that team will go to another municipality to find the stadium. That's why
the Dallas Cowboys are in Arlington.
We're lucky.
Not in Dallas.
We're lucky that the state line exists and that we're not going to lose either team out of the region, out of the metro area. Either they're going to stay in Missouri or they're going to Kansas, but they're still going to be in Kansas City. And that's just where we're at with stadium projects in the United States. I wish they were all privately funded. They're not.
I guess part of it is just like the state line thing doesn't mean anything to me. It's just about proximity. We just happen to live in a city that resides just on a state line. The difference between Dallas and Arlington, I looked it up, is 20 miles. That's the difference between that's probably the difference between where the Chiefs' new stadium would go and where it is now. And so it's like, it's not different. It just happens to be on another side of it. An invisible line. I want to be clear. like an invisible line. It's not, I don't know.
Yeah, I also have heard that, the city of St. Louis has had a football team leave twice. So, this idea that nobody would ever leave St. Louis is hilarious.
I mean, football teams don't like to stay there at all. Not even a little bit. They just want to They want to renovate their downtown stadium. Now, look, if you got other problems with downtown stadiums because you don't like the, I don't know, whatever stuff, safety or whatever things concern you. Like, again, I think we can have differing opinions on this. I don't think it's wrong for you to say, no, I'd like it at 119th. Golden, I wouldn't, but that's okay if you would for the Royals. But like the state line thing, I'm tired, I guess, of getting hung up on that part in particular.
Yeah, we
just didn't feel like it.
Some people are not going to pivot on that. Someone says Kansas is not Kansas City. Like, we don't need to go down that road again.
You know what? Is this the sports team stuff? Just real quick, and then I know we can get to the trash of the day. Because I was trying to think about it. Like, so yesterday on, I think it was maybe the YouTube chat, it was the opposite, right? Someone's like, what kind of losers would want to live on the Missouri side anyway? Laughable.
Who said that?
Just someone on YouTube chat yesterday. And I'm like, the hell you got such against, like, we can all make our jokes about, like, not even kidding. Before the show today, I was making a slight joke talking about like Johnson County moms. We can all make our jokes, right? And Gold can make a joke about the part of the town I live in or anything. But like, do you really hate everybody who lives in Missouri? Do you find it laughable that anyone would choose to live on either side of the state line? I don't. I think it's crazy that Gold chooses to live where he lives. It's fine. I don't care. A lot of it is just like the stuff that doesn't impact you. I still think it must be based in the original sports fandom hate. The original Kansas versus Missouri.
Sure.
And then as they hate each other less, it'll fade less. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe it happens on, someone tell me, you live in St. Louis for a while. Do they mock people from Illinois?
Probably. I'm sure they do. Nebraska people hate Iowa. I mean, this kind of stuff happens.
I mean,
is St. Louis's soccer team on the Illinois side or is it on the Missouri side?
It's in St. Louis, Missouri.
It's in Missouri, I think. I guess
we drove by the stadium.
It's just silly to. I don't get it.
All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right, well, plenty of time to talk more stadium, I'm sure. Don't worry. Let's get to a story in Kentucky. Okay. A man was arrested there. Now, you worked in the restaurant industry for a bit, as we know.
Been a long time, but yeah, every restaurant I now worked at is closed.
Oh, that's interesting.
The one I very briefly worked at before Webster House just closed.
You shut them all down, huh?
They're all closed.
This happened on Friday. I'm wondering if you ever had a circumstance like this. On Friday, police in Kentucky arrested a man who they said opened the door to the Big Apple Grill and Bar.
Okay.
And set a live raccoon loose and left. The animal bit a patron, and officers soon stopped this gentleman's car. He refused to roll on the window, so they pulled him out, arrested him. He now faces charges that include second-degree assault, trespassing, resisting arrest, I cannot talk, and driving without insurance. Police note it wasn't his first unusual offense. He was also arrested last year after showing up drunk on a mule.
Does this guy work on a farm or something? Likes trapping animals?
I don't know.
So he was mad at a business, clearly, then threw a raccoon into their business. Man, I can't imagine. I'm just trying to sit down, eat a steak and a baked potato, whatever, Big Apple Diner, you said, or Big Apple Grill in Murray, Kentucky. Gold, you and I were just on a little road trip, trying to enjoy a meal, and all of a sudden I'm bit by a raccoon. What the hell kind of experience is that coming from? How do you even explain that to somebody else? Also, what makes you think that that's a normal, like that's the level you take it to? I was trying to think of ways to get back at Carrington for all the mean things he said on the show yesterday. I never once thought, what if at the end of the show at 2 o'clock today, I just chucked a live raccoon into the studio and then closed the door behind me? How come trespassing? I mean, I'm assuming he was allowed in that restaurant.
I mean, you just open the front door and then just let the raccoon in, shut the door, and left.
But if I'm under normal circumstances allowed in the restaurant, is it really trespassing? Is it trespassing if I'm planning on committing a different crime?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, if I'm allowed, when did he open it? Under business hours? If it's because they were closed.
Someone says, "Wait a minute, Big Apple Grill in Kentucky." Yes, that's what it said. Yeah, that's what it said.
Maybe they got like a.
Where's Xavier Leggett when you need him?
Just a good text.
Well done. Well done.
Now I gotta see. Do they have like a big apple on the? What is it? Kentucky? I gotta look up the. Big Apple Grill. I mean, they've got like a big apple as their thing, but which part of this town are they calling? Are they just like New Yorkers who decided to live in Kentucky? Because they got like a skyline as part of their logo works. I'm not sure. You guys want to go support the Big Apple Grill? You know, since they've been under raccoon attack. You ever been bit by an animal?
Like a dog, I guess. That would be it. Not a wild animal.
Not a wild animal.
It's like,
didn't get a goat get you at the zoo or something?
No, man. It sounds like you have, is what you're about to tell me.
No, I keep my palms flat at the zoo. They show you how to feed the goats.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can't be risking it. No, just like dog or cat. I can't imagine. Nothing serious. I've never required a stitch or anything for that. I think we should support them.
That is the trash of the day.
Murray, Kentucky. That just sounds like a miserable place to live.
Now, dumb question. Is that where Murray State is?
Oh, great question, actually. I mean, it's got to be, right?
No, probably not. I'm probably making it too simple. Oh, it is. There you go. All right, up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. Once again, people are talking about trading a star player with the Chiefs. Who is it this time? We'll tell you that next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Baseball season is in full swing. That means, hey, the summer heat is coming. We definitely experienced that yesterday. It was a little toasty outside, and the guys over at Climate Control have been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years, and they know how to get your cooling system ready to handle our scorching hot summer weather. Stay cool and comfortable this summer. Call Climate Control today at 816-265-2830. That's 816-265-2830 and schedule that AC system tune-up for just $59. Don't wait. Visit climatecontrolkc.com today. Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. That's right, 0% APR for 5 full years on both Nissan Rogue and Pathfinders. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months or 3.49% APR for 84 months. Bought your last car for 6, 7, even 8% interest? Trade it in, drive off in a brand new Nissan, and lower your monthly payment. Plus, get up to $6,000 rebate on Nissan Frontiers. No one in Kansas City has a better selection. Visit Reiselman.com for details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
A few years ago, CTV was a buzzword. Now it's your most important channel, while your current DSP is still playing catch-up. Viant's been leading CTV from the start, delivering real results across the world's most premium streaming content, viewed by real consumers, backed by real reporting. With AI-driven optimization, people-based targeting, and inventory from the biggest names in entertainment, Viant doesn't just reach audiences, it moves them. Viant, where premium streaming meets performance. Visit ViantInc.com/CTV to unlock real results today.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-355-8282. That's 800-355-8282. Again, that's 800-355-8282.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Love bourbon? Then there's only one sports bar worth celebrating National Bourbon Week at. Score days of spirited cocktail specials at your local lodge. And if mixed drinks aren't your play, ask your bartender to pour you something from the Barrel Selects.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that.
And often, we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find that your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make the change for good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Payout via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment. Not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/score. That's ethos.com/score.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour is brought to you by All Weather Decks, Kansas City's most respected deck builder. Check them out at allweatherdecks.net. We're just going to settle this the old way. We mentioned the boxing match. You dress up like the state of Kansas. I dress up like the state of Missouri. And we battle for this.
But you and I, here's the
That's
But here's the thing. What's funny about this
We're actually
is
two of the most reasoned people about it.
You live in Missouri. I live in Kansas. I've spent my whole life going to sporting events in Missouri. You and I have both said, like, I don't really care where the team ends up. I have preferences, but like deep down, my entire life I have gone to Missouri for sporting events. It's not this. I've spent money in Missouri. It's not like this idea. I don't call them the Missouri Chiefs. I won't call them the Kansas Chiefs. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the Kansas City Royals. And I know that's not how all of you feel, but it is, and people are passionate about it. And we appreciate it. Some of it is not living in reality. They're not going to be called the Overland Park Royals. They're not going to, if they go there, they're not called the Jackson County Chiefs. That's not how the Braves are not in Atlanta. They're not called the, Swinnett, Georgia Braves. I think it's their minor league team. But like point being, they're not called the New Jersey Jets and the New Jersey Giants. Like, anyway, all right, enough of that. We'll talk more Chiefs also in the 1 o'clock hour as well as now because Andy Reid is expected to speak to the media.
Yeah.
In the 1 o'clock hour.
And so is Kingsley Suamataia and a few other interesting Chiefs as well. Obviously, a lot riding on Kingsley's ability to play left guard this year, it would certainly feel. But I couldn't, we tried to find. Apparently, the morning show, Bob said that my song would make him sick. And related to the 999 challenge, a brief period of the song was played. But we couldn't find it. But I happened to catch part of the morning show the other day, in which they were once again suggesting that years ago, trading Travis Kelce would have been the right decision because there was a poll out about whether or not they should trade Travis Kelce now. Now, for starters, Travis Kelce's value now, related to the rest of the league, would make no sense. You would never get the return on it. He's an all-time Chiefs hero. I would never be anywhere in there. But I actually think the bigger problem is that you can't just win with anybody, and the Chiefs have told you that. They know who they can and can't win with, and that's the thing we should actually be applauding them for, Gold. If you go back 3 years and you say trade Travis Kelce when he's beginning, let's say hypothetically, maybe 2 years ago, beginning hypothetically the downward trajectory of his career, and then he doesn't have some big bounce back this year. And because they traded Tyreek Hill, they could have won without anybody, traded away Travis Kelce then, got tremendous back value for him, and continued to win. That's where I think it's wrong. Because they chose to keep Travis Kelce, went to 3 straight Super Bowls, won 2 of them, and did that without Tyreek, sure, but they didn't do that without Travis Kelce. I don't think we can now just subtract anybody off the roster and say they would have won it without that player. I think what the Chiefs have told you is there are certain players we can't win without, at least not yet, and those players to this point have been Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones. Those are the guys we know we need until we find suitable replacements, and maybe they've done in Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy now. And I firmly believe in these. Some guys should be able to ride out their career in the same city. Because that argument means you like if you think that trading Travis Kelce now makes sense, well then you're probably trade Travis or Patrick Mahomes when he's 40, and you would have been fine to ship him out to Tom Brady when you were in New England, and it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is, we think, the final year of Kelce, and therefore every other team also knows that. So, I mean, I really don't know where this fully came from directly. The thought of trading. I mean, there was the conversation, I think, 5 years ago that people said, oh, should you have traded Travis Kelce or whatever? He's going to go down as the greatest tight end in NFL history. Look at his production the last couple of years, the rings they've won. The idea that they should have done it there was wrong. And the idea that they would trade it now would just simply not make any sense for both the Chiefs and for Travis and for any team trading for
But
him.
I think it would have been a horrible idea even if you went back in the Wayback Machine and said 2 years ago, let's do it.
Yeah.
Why would you turn in the three trips to a Super Bowl and the 2 wins at the risk that they wouldn't be able to replace that player just because they could win without Tyreek?
I think the morning show had a poll question, and that's where you obviously were talking about, and that was to trade for TJ Watt.
Well, that's ludicrous. That's not going to happen.
The Steelers wouldn't accept that trade.
Yeah. But that's also
it's not even,
That's just like asking fans for, first, it's a really bad trade for the Steelers. They're just
they would
not,
never accept
it.
Yes.
I don't know why you'd trade a 30-year-old elite level defensive end for a 36.
I mean, by that logic, we can just
end?
at that point, like, obviously it's a fun hypothetical and stuff, but like, you can do that though for so many trades if that's the case. I mean, it's like, would you trade Travis Kelce for Jamar Chase? Yeah, I would too. Yeah, I mean, like, we can play that game all day long.
Honestly, it's still closer than it should be, which is 46% yes, 28% no, 26% hell no. So I'm not sure what the difference is, but some of this is like the bigger organizational stuff. So like when I make fun of Cincinnati because their first round pick, who is not signed, has now left camp altogether and has made it very clear it's about the shady stuff Cincinnati's trying to do with his contract and that he doesn't feel good about. And there's no reason for him to accept a complete change from the complete standard and industry norm, including their team's practice. Who the hell trades away a first ballot Hall of Famer, who is still, statistically, by the way, one of the 3 best tight ends in the NFL? Because you can say that Travis Kelce's production has come down. Why would you move on from a player that still statistically is one of the best players at his position, even at the age? But the one that offends me more is the idea that, like, you know, if you'd been saying this for years, now it's the right call because the decline eventually happened. I'd be like, nah, not with the middle of Super Bowl trips. I know they did it without Tyreek Hill. I don't think they go to as many Super Bowls without Travis Kelce. Maybe it's 1 less, maybe it's 2. It's not 0. in your defense, but it's definitely not as many as they went to.
Is it one of those things where, let's say Travis wasn't putting up the numbers, Cody. Let's say he was only getting like 500 over the last.
He's not.
No. I'm saying let's pretend that he got 500 yards last year. Do you actually still, do you even consider trading him still because of what he's meant and knowing he's going into probably his last season? Or you're like, you know what? This is going to be a celebration no matter how good or bad Travis is. This year's for Travis. We're going to do everything we can for Travis, and we want him to be a part of our team rather than looking to the future, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like an appreciation thing, I think, regardless, because this is probably his last
Happens
season.
less in the NFL, I'll say. Lots of baseball players get to just like ride off into the sunset hitting 230. In football, more often than not, Drew, they go the other way.
I mean, Montana, Brady, teams are always looking to move you for whatever's best. Yeah.
Even if you're an all-timer, they'll still let you sometimes find another home because, like, let's use a great example. Here's a great example, similar age. Ed Reed. Ed Reed was an all-time Hall of Fame level player for the Baltimore Ravens. You probably don't remember. In his final season in the year, he played part of the year for the Houston Texans and part of the year for the Jets. You probably don't even remember him in that uniform, Drew. They walked on his ass. They said, we're good.
I remember with the Jets, yes.
So,
but, it happens.
In the NFL, more often than not, they're kind of cutthroat. My point is that Travis Kelce is still an incredibly productive player. And at this stage, like if they're saying the poll question was just, would you do it straight up for this year's Travis versus this year's TJ Watt? The answer is still, I'd still take Travis at this moment. But yeah, I understand that TJ Watt's going to be the better player for the next 5 years because he's going to be in the league.
Obviously.
Travis Kelce's not going to be around much longer, I guess. Although, I don't know. I go back to that Patrick Mahomes comment where he said, if it's his last year, he's not making it seem that way. I still put like a 10% chance he comes back next year. Is that too high?
I think so. I think he's done.
You think it's zero?
I think it's zero.
I don't know. I don't think you can ever say it's zero.
0.5. I'll give like a 1%
Yeah, it's like a
chance that he
5% chance this is not the final year.
Okay. So you're willing to go, I'm not like way higher than you. I said 10.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm not out of control high, at least, based on
I don't think he's going to play for anybody else other than the Chiefs, and I don't think the Chiefs would. I don't think the Chiefs would.
This is one of those players.
I think this is it. I think this is his last year playing for the Chiefs, and I don't think he's playing for another team. As a result, I think he's done.
But if at the end of the year he said, "Hey, I'd like a 1-year deal one more time," you pay him. I'm sorry, you just do.
Oh yeah,
you
I
don't
think
let
they
him
would.
find some other team to latch on to and try to.
I just don't think he also. I honestly,
don't think you would do that.
I think we're at the point. And I know other athletes have done. I don't think he will ever play for another team.
Do you think he would just retire if the Chiefs didn't win?
I think that kind of goes back to the Jason Kelce thing. Like they seem to have a very similar team-friendly sentiment, and how they both know how rare it is to get to spend an entire career with one team at any position that isn't quarterback. And even quarterbacks, yet everybody doesn't get to do that either. But like, it's rare, really rare in order to do it. The other part about the Travis Kelce stuff is what ESPN had written about Mahomes' looming question this year, and they related it to, can he return to the statistical monster that he once was? Kelce's a part of what I think is the deepest wide receiver unit they have had. And I know for a fact that sentence has been uttered by people sometime in the last 3 years, and it ended up being demonstrably false. I remember specifically that getting mentioned in one of those years when it was like Kadarius Toney and some other guys. That one just ended up being way wrong. Last year, at least you could have said injuries got in the way.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it should be the same as last year, except you drafted Xavier Worthy, and you know what kind of player you got in that. Rashee Rice, the suspension part still looms. Although the later it goes, the longer I'm just like convinced he's not going to get suspended at all, or he's going to be suspended for 2 to 3 games, not 4 to 6, or anything outside of that. But Rice, Worthy, Kelce, Hollywood, that's a unit. That's a real wide receiver unit that I would rack up when some of the top 5 to 7 in the league, honestly.
Yeah, I think they have plenty of weapons heading into the season. That's not the question. I would have. We've said yesterday I would have liked them to do something differently with the backfield. Whether it was bringing in somebody different than signing Kareem Hunt back, or a younger, more explosive back higher in the draft than just wait until the 7th round. Okay, that's nitpicking a little bit, but that's where I would have pivoted a little bit in the backfield. Offensively, wide receiver and tight end, they got plenty of weapons. It is still up to me about the offensive line. So yeah, when there's Dan Graziano out there doing a column about some of the most pressing questions for every team's QB and talking about how Mahomes and the deep passing game and all that, I still think if the wide receiver room is healthy, I think they got the guys.
I think they're instantly better there, even if the offensive line struggles. I think last year's, and we were talking about this earlier, the more I think about it, Gold, the problem with the offense the last 2 years, and which, by the way, they were not the league's worst offense or a joke. They were just too close to mediocre for our tastes. They were 10 to 12th best, not 1 to, the first best or the third best or whatever else offense outside of it. They're still better than a huge chunk of the league. I still think it's because both were bad. I think we were way undervaluing the fact that I can't play with a good offensive line, with a bad offensive line, or, other people make it work with that. Josh Allen didn't have elite level weapons. He had the best offensive line, or the second best offensive line in the AFC.
And one of the best running backs in the league.
Second to only Denver, in my opinion. He might have had the third best line in the league last year, Josh Allen. So yeah, I'm sure his stats still looked better than Patrick Mahomes. It's not about having one unit fail you. It's the fact that both did. Last year, their number one wide receiver for the second consecutive year was an unproven rookie who they had to develop in the season. That's not great. That's not what you're trying to build. Now, they actually tried to have more options, obviously, but we know Rasheed Rice 4 games into the season.
They went out and
ripped up his ACL Achilles or whatever.
In season, they went out and did as many micro moves, if you will, that they could to try to get it together. That's what helped them get to 15 wins and obviously get them to a Super Bowl. The Super Bowl itself didn't go the way, but they still got to a Super Bowl. And they made moves in season. You highlight them. Some worked, some didn't. Kareem Hunt in season signing would turn out to be a big deal for them during the year. D Hop really didn't provide the boost that everybody was hoping for.
He cost a 5th round pick, so
sure. Oh, I'm just saying they did a bunch of micro moves to try to get to where they got. But the question about Mahomes and the deep passing game and what the offense could be, could it ever get back to being a top 5, top 7 offense? That is going to be because of the explosive plays, but it really, to me, is going to be because the left side of the offensive line is improved. And if it's not, I think there's a chance we're going to be frustrated by the lack of big plays again. But I do think wide receiver-wise, Brown, Rice, and Worthy, I think they have the right people in place.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know, man. I definitely think they're going to be way, way, way better on offense, even if the deep passing game struggles because of what you said, the offensive line. Can they be worse on offensive line? You know that the deep metrics hated their left side play last year.
They could be worse. The left side couldn't be, but the entirety of the line could be.
Okay. Man.
If you want to, because I think that's a...
Well, I don't think they're going to get any worse at center or right guard. That's going to stand pat, and right tackle. I don't know why that would fundamentally change. So for me, it's how are they going to be worse?
If Juwan Taylor's a penalty machine again, and then I think that might be...
He's led the league in the NFL in penalties by a billion penalties over the last 2 years. So that's not worse. That's the same. I have a hard time imagining worse for the offensive line. I guess Gold, worse seems like a stretch. The same? I'll hear the same.
Yeah, the offensive line line is not going to be worse than a year ago. The left side is the question, though. Left guard, you're going to be. I know one area you are going to be worse. You're going to be worse at left guard. The question is the left tackle play good enough to make up for that? I think Juwan Taylor will actually, now we're further removed, he's off the radar. I think Juwan Taylor will be fine in his final year in Kansas City.
I still think he'll commit a lot of penalties because he's done that throughout his career.
Well, isn't that's what happened with Trey Smith last year towards the end is he had to help Juwan Taylor out because he was struggling and Trey Smith started committing penalties on a fairly regular basis. Once or twice a game it happened over the entirety of the playoffs, it felt like.
This is why they paid Trey Smith more. Because there are some people who be like, I don't know, man. I see Trey Smith miss some blocks sometimes. And what they're missing is what he's actually doing is covering for Juwan Taylor a lot. But that's also why they're willing to pay Trey Smith, because they understand part of that. But Juwan Taylor at this point is who he is. It's not like a back of the baseball card argument because it's hard to see because it's right tackle. He has been a this is not a compliment, wildly consistent player in his time here in Kansas City. He has been the exact same player every single game the entire time he's played as a Kansas City Chief. So I don't imagine him getting worse. Same with Creed Humphrey. That is a compliment because his comes with an incredibly high level of play, other than the, 7 games he had with snapping issues at the tail end of
2 years ago.
2 years ago, which he solved, I guess, through changing his grip or whatever. So outside of that very brief moment they had there, I will say, Gold, great news, though. If they do end up moving on from Travis Kelce, did you see once again someone over at KC Kingdom,
don't do this.
One player is being listed as a best fit for any NFL team and is already hypothetically being talked about in trades.
Don't do this.
You've fresh name. I'm sure you've never heard this name. I'm sure you've never heard this name mentioned with the Kansas City Chiefs before or is a possible heir apparent to Travis Kelce.
Don't
That
do
name
it.
as a best remaining fit. I can't sell this out any longer. Kyle Pitts.
Let's go.
Oh, gosh.
You know I'm off it. Dude, this is more poking the bear than anything else. You know I'm off it. I was on Kyle Pitts for a number of years. I thought it was a good fit. I was very interested in Kansas City. I no longer want to make that trade. So I'm off it for what it's worth. I'm just telling you other websites and other outlets are not. I saw multiple outlets, including the one I had mentioned, Casey Kingdom, mention Kyle Pitts as a high fit for the Kansas City-led offense. Reportedly, the Falcons are being kind of mum is the word. It sounds like they're kind of out on him. Like they're trying to say, no, the coach likes him. I think they're kind of out on him. Fresh blood, new system. Let Penix figure out his own security blankets to kind of work through and go with. Let him kind of go, lean on Bijan more, whatever you got to do. I think a lot of it is they're probably willing, but like, I don't even know what the value is anymore. Is there a pick that you would do it? If it were a 7th Gold, would you do it? Like, is there a pick you would do it?
A 7th?
There's no room. Noah Gray.
I think you do it for a 5th.
I wouldn't do it for a 5th. It'd have to be late. You know where I've been at Kyle Pitts throughout his career. Great rookie season, and then everybody blamed it on his quarterback play. At some point, you got to take responsibility for your own play, and that's where I've been at with Kyle Pitts for a while. He's been drastically disappointing considering where he was drafted. Do I think
how he started his career?
Do I think he's terrible? No, he's not terrible. I just think he's an average tight end in this league that's still an athletic freak. But we have plenty of guys in the league that are athletic freaks, so they just, for whatever reason, it doesn't all come together. And I think that is what has happened for Kyle Pitts.
That happens a lot.
I think Kyle Pitts is a great example of he's playing off his talent. He's not working to get, like, he doesn't have, and again, I might be wrong, but it looks like he plays off of, I've got enough talent, like I'm freakishly athletic enough to do it, and I don't need to really put in that amount of work, which I think...
That's what actual people have accused him of. You're not just saying that. People have accused him of
and
that
I think that, look, Arthur Smith was the head coach. He's no longer a head coach. Raheem Morris is doing a solid job, but they haven't had consistent quarterback play. I think there's part of it, mostly to blame is Kyle Pitts, but I think part of it is, if you were to say he gets Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, he can elevate his play to be better than average. If you say you gave up a 5th or a 6th round pick to do that, I would be all about it.
So, like, I guess here would be the answer to the question. Here's the only appeal for him. He's only 24 years old. He'll be 25 at the start of the season. That's the biggest appeal. The fact that he is a very young player still, but dude, he's been in the league for 4 years. Young only buys you so much time. The bigger question is, if Noah Gray was the full-time starting tight end the last 2 years for the Chiefs, how many yards and touchdowns do you think he'd put up? Because here's the last
650.
Here's the last 2 years. Great answer, by the way, without even looking. And you think probably 4 or 5 touchdowns? Here's the great Kyle Pitts, last 2 years as the full-time starting tight end for the Atlanta Falcons. 53, 667 and 3 touchdowns, 47, 602 and 4 touchdowns. That feels exactly what Noah Gray's numbers would be if he was the full-time starting tight end.
Kyle Pitts' nickname is?
His nickname?
On Pro Football Reference. You know how they
those
have
nicknames are weird. They list all kinds of bad ones from Mahomes.
Do you have any guesses for Kyle Pitts without looking on the page?
So something Florida related, maybe.
Unicorn. I don't know the backstory there.
I guess because he's a unicorn prospect.
4th overall pick. I'm sorry, terrible pick. You drafted him 4th overall, and you're getting 600-yard production a year out of a
Tell
tight
you what,
end.
for 1 year they felt amazing. When he had 1,000 yards, they were probably feeling
But
good.
If Kyle Pitts was on the Chiefs,
Cody, it was. I mean, we've seen tight ends recently. Sam Laporta and these other guys have way better seasons than that. It's not even like that was. Oh my gosh, I've never seen a tight end have 1,000 yards.
No, but at the time it was less common. Now more tight ends.
Yeah.
If Sam Laporta's also coming off a disappointing year. He only had 726 yards.
he was not very
and
good.
He didn't even have the first year that.
Correct.
He might be heading straight for Kyle Pittstown, population Laporta at this point. 889 year one, less than his, and 726, so better in year 2, but not like good.
What was T.J. Hawkinson last year? I know he was kind of injured off and on, but Hawkinson and Laporta I kind of put in that same category of their names are really good because they had one really good season or 2.
This is where he had 455 yards, but he was played
injured, right?
in 10 games. This is where this is a Kansas City-based conversation, Drew, where we run into a problem where I don't think fans realize Kyle Pitts is actually giving you league average tight end play. So he's not like a total washout in the league. He's not like, this guy's a total bust, get him out. He's terrible at the pick you were taking him out, like Gold said. But he's not like, get the man out of the league. He'll probably play in the league 10 years if he's going to have 600 yards. This is what a normal tight end looks like. The difference is they picked him 4th overall thinking they were going to get Brock Bowers production for 10 straight years, or Travis Kelce production for 10 straight years, and he's what's the league average tight end that I haven't mentioned before? I don't want to bring up the same poor guy every time. Cole Kmet doesn't deserve this.
Cole Kmet isn't even. I mean, he's. Mike
he might be
Gesicki.
slightly above average. Mike
Mike Gesicki.
Sure.
Pat Freiermuth.
They thought they were getting better than that, I guess is the point.
Pat Freiermuth is another good one of just he's really solid. You know, he's reliable. I think if you put Kyle Pitts on the Chiefs offense, I think he could have 800, 850 yards in a season on a regular basis because I think that's how much Mahomes and Andy could elevate him. I think it has nothing to do with Kyle Pitts himself. I think it is Andy is going to figure out a way, and Mahomes will figure out a way to get you the ball in the best spots, and you're going to be better because you have them.
Let him just play his last year in Atlanta, be a free agent, and then you can kick it around. Okay? Then you can do the entertainment part.
All right, up next, let's get to what's trending. We'll get another U.S. Open leaderboard update as well and talk more about what things could look like in this rotation with Cole Reagan's back on the IL.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Go Yard all baseball season long with Underdog's Champions Game. Take a swing at making those baseball entries this season over at Underdog. It's one of the leading places to make all your sports selections, and you can play in your state on the Missouri side. Join one of the fastest growing sports games apps over at Underdog that you can play in your state. Millions of fans have already won billions playing at Underdog. Why not be next? Go ahead and play. Download the app. Choose which player to go higher or lower on your favorite stats. You can choose things like home runs, strikeouts, total bases, and so much more over at Underdog. Once your entry feels good, you can play with as little as $1. So get everything right, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Download the Underdog app today and sign up using promo code TAP to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAP. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See UnderdogFantasy.com/web deposit-match-terms. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
See website for details. BillsHappen.com is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? We need some extra cash.
We should do what my friend from work did. She went to BillsHappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
BillsHappen.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to BillsHappen.com, and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
Hi there, I'm Charlie. And I'm Carter. Our dad is Rex with Rex Buys KC. If you're thinking about selling a home in Kansas City and don't know where to start, our dad can help. Sometimes life throws curveballs, like moving for a new job, dealing with a divorce, or inheriting a house you weren't expecting. Dad doesn't just make offers, he talks with people to help them understand all of their options. No pressure, and it doesn't cost anything to talk with his team. He's a local home buyer who really knows Kansas City. If selling to him is the right choice, he'll give you a fair cash offer, and you can close on your timeline even in as little as 7 days. He buys homes in any condition. No need for repairs, no fees, no surprises. Just an honest, easy process so you feel good about your decision. Want to talk to him? Call 816-330-6000 or go to rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
Hi, this is Toby Tobin along with Jason Goodenkoff from Lewisburg Ford in Lewisburg, Kansas. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Toby.
Holy cow, you've done it again.
We've done it again, Toby. We won the President's Award again this year. This is the 22nd time we've been awarded this awesome honor from Ford Motor Company.
But what is the President's Award?
The President's Award is the top award Ford Motor Company gives its dealers for for excellence in customer satisfaction in both sales and service and their sales penetration numbers. So we are super honored to have received this award for the 22nd time.
It covers the whole works at Lewisburg Ford.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to the awesome people we have working at Lewisburg Ford and helping our customers, and it really shows with this award because it's only a few dealers that get it, and we've done it 22 times.
I guarantee you this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck in the Midwest.
Absolutely. You couple that President's Award lineage with our no-hassle Toby Tobin pricing, it does not get any better than that.
What is your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Or LewisburgFord.com.
Name That Famous Father is an exciting, interactive promotion hosted by 96.5 The Fan and Hy-Vee, where listeners will test their knowledge of famous fathers from various industries. Each day, they'll hear clues on air and have the chance to guess their famous father. The more they listen, the more chances they'll have to win $500 Hy-Vee gift card to treat their dad to everything he might need for Father's Day. From cards and gifts to barbecue supplies and more. After 5 qualifiers are selected, one will be chosen to win a $500 Hy-Vee gift card for Father's Day.
Looking for power, safety, and advanced tech? Drive into the future with Hyundai's latest hybrid lineup. Introducing the 2025 Hyundai Sonata and Elantra hybrids, where sleek design meets smart savings. Spend less time and money at the pump. The Hyundai 3-row Santa Fe hybrid SUV seats up to 7 with available dual wireless charging and Wi-Fi hotspot. The versatile Hyundai Tucson hybrid SUV features standard H-Track all-wheel drive and sleek tech like wireless charging and more. The uncompromising Hyundai Sonata Hybrid Limited Sedan is superb in performance and handling and has an EPA estimated 51 highway miles per gallon. The sporty Elantra Hybrid Limited Sedan delivers an impressive EPA estimated 52 miles per gallon. But it's not just about efficiency, it's about peace of mind. No matter which Hyundai hybrid is right for you, you get America's best warranty. Get the best of both worlds with a Hyundai hybrid. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for details.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/score. That's ethos.com/score.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ, FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We'll get back into the Royals in just a bit. Obviously, they dropped another one. This continues to be an embarrassing series against the New York Yankees. They'll try to salvage it a little bit tonight.
Come on, Seth Lugo.
Seth Lugo on the bump. 6:40 first pitch. Ferns on deck show starts at 5:30. I think it's Will Warren or whatever on the mound for the New York Yankees tonight.
I've never heard of.
Yeah, he's got, looks 5.34 ERA.
You ever heard of that guy before?
No. I'd be lying. No.
Me either.
But the Royals haven't been getting hits off at anybody, no matter if we know the name or not. So
that's fair. That's not an inaccuracy. It's a sad reality at the moment. Next up on What's Trending, the Pacers get Game 3 against the Thunder at home in Indiana last night, 116-107. Still in the books, the underdog to win the series right now. But that was a massive one for the Pacers. Had the Thunder gotten that game, everyone would have assumed that this series was kind of cooked. Now the Pacers get to stay in it. Now it's starting to feel like 6 or 7 is what this series is most likely to go. But the Pacers get the win last night. It was close the entire game. That was the difference.
A gritty win.
This was a close game the entire way. The final 2.5 minutes, the Pacers pulled away. But up until that point, it was dead.
The Pacers are 14-0 when they score 110 points or more.
Yeah, I mean, we said yesterday, going in, the fact they were going back home, they're going to play a little faster, a little looser and all that, and you kind of saw that. And then, of course, Halliburton made some big-time shots again down the stretch of that game. Also, sticking with the theme of the playoffs, Stanley Cup Finals, Game 4 is tonight. Edmonton and Florida. Florida up 2-1. We've been talking about that in relation to old Cashout Bro. He needs the Oilers. But we'll see what happens this evening. Panthers, of course, are favorites at this point in time to win the series.
Cash out, dude. Just take the $60,000 they're offering you. It might be $10,000.
If Florida wins tonight, his offer is going to be $10,000 to $20,000 if he even has one on the table.
And that might just be them being generous. I'm dead serious. Next up on What's Trending, the U.S. Open underway right now. I love when it's actually televised.
What happened to our TV?
The day probably broke like the
what
other one.
What happened to our TV? It was
honestly can't afford TVs. What? This one's been broken for 6 years. It seems like
we had.
We're trying to turn it back on.
We had TV on. I don't know what happened.
But the U.S. Open, which is currently being televised, J.J. Spaun currently the leader. He finished his round at 4 under, shot a 66.
Yep.
Good for him. Ben Griffin at 2 under, Siwoo Kim at 2 under. Big grouping at that stage. Earlier in the day, Rory McIlroy seemed like he was heading towards a good path. He was 1 or 2 under par. Same with Gary Woodland. Now they're both 2 over par.
Gary Woodland is 5 over in his last 5 holes. Rory's blown up.
Yeah, and Rory had an absolutely massively bad hole. It
Really?
seems like if you get in the rough, you can still just absolutely lose it in this tournament.
Rory's 4 over through his last 3 holes. He doesn't have a birdie on his back 9, the actual front 9.
I was more reacting to Gary Woodland, who was off to a nice first 6, and now.
Now, in fairness, J.J. Spaun could have the same blow-up hole as them as yesterday and just reopen this thing up because he's really only 4 shots off of second place right now, so it's not as bad as you think.
Short game was same with him.
Elsewhere on What's Trending, Cincinnati Bengals first-round pick Shamar Stewart has now left minicamp with continued contract issues around Cincinnati. And last I checked, Drew, Cincinnati, their defense wasn't good last year, right?
I can't wait till they start playing because it's the same thing every day. It's the same thing every day.
But their defense wasn't good, right?
It was not.
So they spent
last year it was not.
No, and then they spent a top pick on Stewart, right? And then he's a defensive player, right?
Yep.
Is there some reason they're trying to stay in business for this?
To get better for their defense to actually practice, and he's not at practice because of contract language. What an embarrassment. And also Cincinnati, whether there's some truth that he's not playing ball as well. The PR battle you have already lost. It's an embarrassing thing. Get the damn thing done. Like, honestly, how the hell have you not figured this out if you're Cincinnati with your top pick?
They're both standing on business.
And I know the Chiefs' second-round pick that hasn't signed. Guess what? He's showing up. They don't have a PR disaster in front of them because of it or anything like that. It's because they're probably handling it a professional way.
I guess this all comes down to, Cincinnati. I'm convinced it's because they're broke. Just poor boy doing poor boy stuff. And it's like, they finally spent some money, and now they're like, there won't be free water available for the players in the locker room anymore. They're trying to shave nickels now because they had to pay 2 players, and now they're like, hey, can we just not guarantee your rookie contract anymore, even though every team in the entire league, including us, has been doing this for a decade plus? They're trying to they're picking up dimes off the street.
It's so much for Joe Burrow to have to overcome,
I'm not. Yeah. I will say he does have to overcome a poor organization. It's also why I don't take, and this is not even a knock on you. It is why I don't take Cincinnati as a threat. I think you have to be a well-run organization to be a threat to Kansas City, and the Bengals aren't. They're a
there's some validity to that. I mean, in terms of you look at the organizations who are better run, the Bills are more well-run. There's not many problems coming out of Buffalo or Baltimore or even Pittsburgh, and they're the ones who are consistently there, obviously in the mix, of course.
That's what it comes down to. Over in the 816, somebody says they got a free 55-inch TV for us. Gold. Would it fit up there?
No. In that spot, I wouldn't. It'd have to go in a different area.
Could it just go up there and block part of Drew's view? I mean, what's he seeing out of that top corner anyway?
I don't know. You tell me, Drew.
I'll be totally honest with you. If all of a sudden this section of this,
it would drive you crazy.
It would drive me a little nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not trying to drive you crazy.
I think we have to keep that
open. What if we hang it over
open?
here? Do we need to see into the side booth? Why is that glass even there? Is in case somebody wants to talk or want to see him?
I think back in the day when there was sports updates and stuff like that.
You do it from over there?
You know what would be perfect is if there were 2 TVs that hung from the ceiling and you could you would just look straight up, Gold, and then Cody would also look straight up.
Like I'm at the dentist's office?
And it wouldn't be a...
Oh, you mean Yeah, I don't know
And
about
like
that.
straight, if you look
I mean,
straight in front of you and up,
corners.
That's
the logical.
I mean, that makes
Drew
more
would love
sense.
it. He would have 2 TVs to look at right away the whole
Plus
time.
this one, oh yeah, come March Madness time, oh yeah.
I'll just plug it in and put it
Add
on
that
like,
to the list of things.
It'll be like a frat house in here. I'll just buy one and put it on like whatever piece of wood furniture will support it here in the corner.
Well, during March Madness, we just set the one right there.
Yeah, we do. I'm not trying to block our lovely banner. You know, for those here.
We need to get a UMKC jersey or something, Cody, to hang up to add some team.
Well, one point in
specific
time, I'm going to put
memorabilia.
my jersey in the rafters. I'm just going to hang it up in the corner.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Alrighty.
For middays, you know,
we do need some memorabilia on the walls or something in here. I feel like maybe at some point.
Hang on a second. Your UMKC jersey has your name on the back, doesn't it?
Yeah, this goes.
I've never worn it to a game though. They gave it to me as part of like a giveaway thing. I've never worn it. To
Have you worn it? Have you worn it in public in general at all?
Only when
you did.
One time,
You did.
Okay.
when we were gonna have the UMKC coach on, and I wore it like without, like it was more for a joke.
Okay.
But with like
And
no shirt underneath.
He had no undershirt.
No
on.
undershirt.
Oh, you didn't do
Yes,
that.
he did.
Oh,
Yes, he did.
no.
Yes, he did.
Absolutely.
Yes, he did, Drew.
That's how real basketball players wear. Not that lame.
But you're not a real
shirt.
person.
Not wrong.
Jeez, you didn't wear a T-shirt under a hoodie?
Nope, nothing. Just straight jersey, my friend. That photo's out there somewhere. We did a full video stream before the show was even on video stream full time for that one. So that was interesting.
That is true. All right, let's talk about the Royals. We'll get into the series in just a bit, but starting with Cole Reagan, so we know is on the IL. We don't know the severity of it yet. Rotator cuff strain, whether it's severe or not. I mean, at minimum, this feels like it's going to be a long-term IL stint. Does that mean the season? I don't know. Does that mean in the next season? We don't know yet. But this isn't he'll be back in 15 days kind of thing either.
Yeah,
That's
doesn't
how
sound
serious
like
it is. This has been a brutal year for him. He's had multiple injuries, the groin injury, maybe even some bicep soreness at one point in time. Now you're dealing with rotator cuff problems. He has already had Tommy John surgery a few times in his career. He got a contract in the offseason as well. And luckily the deal was team friendly. It's not like they're on the hook for $20 million a year down the road or something. But I do think, as much as it is a bummer also just for him personally, for the Royals, I think this changes how you have to approach what you may or may not want to do with Chris Bubich. You know, if your team give him an extension this offseason, fine. I think that might sway you to that point. If you're wanting to trade him, I think you have to think even harder about doing that because let's say this is a longer-term injury for Reagans. What's your rotation like next season if you don't have Reagans and Bubich available at the beginning of the season? So I think this makes it more likely they either play it out with Bubich or he gets an extension now.
I guess a lot of this is, and I kind of agree with you, I think it's more likely that's the case. I do find it interesting to say who do they need more the rest of the way now, Chris Bubich or Seth Lugo? And I think you got to go back to the guy who finished top 5 last year for sure in Seth Lugo and rely on the veteran more than Chris Bubich, who is having a career year, certainly, but still has a long way to go in order to make sure
Are you saying for this year or long term? Because Seth Lugo's because Lugo's going to opt out, we all assume.
For this year. For the long term, it's obviously Chris Bubich. I don't even think that's much of a debate, at least on that end. This is a huge blow for them because what this puts them in is a really weird spot. They call up Caglione. They make the trades they make in the offseason. They sign the guys they do in the offseason. They were making a play for this year. And as Vern has said on the show, when you got Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny Pasquantino and Jack Caglione, you're about this year every year. You're not half-step backing it. And if Cole Reagans is hurt for a huge chunk, does that even change the ability to, ship off one extra starter thinking you can cover it because you had more than you needed there for some stretch of time, and now all of a sudden you're without the guy who was your ace of the staff and opening day starter this year, and now you need to do you hold on to those guys? Can you afford to hold on to those guys? If you ship them, where do you go? They've lost 18 of their last 28 games. So, I kind of feel like they need to add more than trade at this point if they're going to be serious still about winning this year, but that would also mean to be now. So they're kind of stuck. I feel like they're stuck in no man's land at the moment, and I'm not sure that there's an easy solution. This Reagans thing really puts them behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Yeah, that's too. I mean, we know about the offensive problems, and now you're starting to have pitching come back down to earth slightly, and then you're having the injury bug get you. That was more than the offense, and now clearly the offense has been the biggest problem. But before the season started, one of the biggest worries was would the injury bug get you? You were so fortunate last year, and now we're seeing it here in the middle of June come and really get you when it comes to Cole Reagans. Already had it with Hunter Harvey early in the season, and then to a certain extent Urseg, although he's going to be back in there. He's back in the mix now, but
they got to get a lead to use him.
Sure. I think the problem, though, you're saying, hey, they need to go add to it. Yeah, right now, nobody's buying, nobody's selling. It's June 12th. This situation will somewhat take care of itself, I think, by the time we get to the 1st of July. If they are still a game out or have a playoff spot, okay, go look to add for this year and beyond. If it is July 1st, July 10th, and they're 5+ games out of a wild card spot, the third and final wild card spot that would be, then yeah, they need to make moves that are definitely all about 2026. Doesn't mean you're selling like guys that can help you next year. It means Seth Lugo. It means Lorenzen. It means looking at what problem is. Carlos Estevez has a year under his contract after this too, so
you don't have to make that move now.
But guys like that,
he's got 1 billion years left on.
There's the difference for me is: am I willing to trade prospects to build in the future? If not, if I'm 5 games back, it better be someone that has years of control. Otherwise, no. But the full-blown idea, like today they need to decide to sell, I don't get that. Like as bad as they're playing, you don't make that decision on June 12th. That's crazy.
I don't think that makes any sense because they've put too much, and they put too much into this year.
Yeah, so this is
I honestly think that they should be more of a buyer than a seller as of today. And I know that maybe that's delusional. And look, the Yankees series has gone horrible, but they've got a lot of losing baseball teams coming up on the schedule. So can you still figure out a way to get back to your winning ways? A's are one of the worst teams in the American League. Rangers have a losing record, so at least you're somewhere there. Padres they're a pretty good baseball team, and so are the Dodgers, so you're going to run into problems there. But, the Rays are not like world beaters by any stretch of the imagination. They're probably right around 500 like you.
913-586-7965. I get this is where a lot of people have been chiming in today. They said, why ruin the future? Just be a third wild card team. Makes no sense. This is not a World Series year. Don't make stupid moves. So as I said, depending on where they're at, I don't want them mortgaging the future to be in that spot. I'm with you. But if they're within a game of a playoff spot at some point in July, making a trade to better this year without mortgaging the future, yeah, I'll be all about doing that.
The Tigers were like this last year and then caught fire, Yeah,
and I'm not saying that they're going to catch fire. I'm not saying that they're going to get on a run or not. My point, though, is this idea now suddenly we have of, well, if they can't win the World Series, then they should just sell everything. That's not how – some of it is because of what the Chiefs have done, but also that's not how baseball works. If there's any playoff where a team does go on a run that makes no sense – we've seen that, by the way, 2014. It's baseball. I'm not saying that they're going to do that. My point is that this is not the sport where you have to be the best team entering the playoffs in terms of record to go to the World Series. Also,
especially when
they have not gone to back-to-back, right? They have not gone to back-to-back postseasons very often in their team's history. So this idea now that's like, well, no point in making the playoffs if you don't think they can win the World Series. That's just not how, small market baseball, that's where we're at now. The idea that suddenly we're making the playoffs is not something that you're willing to accept to see if you can get hot in the postseason. Now it's, well, if they're not a number one wild card or division winner, I don't want to be in there. This is not the NFL. This is not the Pittsburgh Steelers stuck in mediocrity for 10 years where it's time to reset. That's not what they haven't gone to the playoffs for 8 years in a row and come up empty. And it's like, okay, I'm sick of it. Do something. They've gone to the playoffs one time in the last 9 years.
Yeah, I'd like more of that. And it's also just ignoring, like you said, baseball. 2 years ago, the Arizona Diamondbacks went to a Game 7. They were an 86-win team. In the last 5 years, the Astros had win totals in the 80s and won the World Series. And so,
but I'll push back on your schedule thing a little bit, though. I'm just
still saying like that still benefits you versus like the Yankees are a better team, and it's so glaringly obvious over these last couple of games that playing a team that's worse than that's not going to hurt you.
No doubt the Yankees are clearly just better, but they also just struggled against the White Sox. Sure. They can't hit. I don't care if the pitcher is named Max Fried, Skubal, or it's Johnny Smith that just got called up.
It's pretty much the guy's name tonight. It's like
Will Warren. Yeah, like it doesn't. They haven't hit against anybody. So that part, yes, is there an opportunity? Sure, but they've put themselves in a spot. Can you salvage one tonight somehow? I don't know. And then against the A's, you better win that series. Otherwise, they're going to be 2 or 3 games under 500 very quick.
The truth is that if the Royals miss the playoffs this year, I wouldn't be like, the organization is heading in a bad direction and they don't know what they're doing. To be a small market team who wins consistently, a lot of what those teams do is avoid being a laughing stock. And I'll just be clear, I don't know how many times in my life on June 12th, the Royals even had a discussion for the playoffs. It's not often, man. I don't know how many times in June 12th they were dead and gone and buried and so far out of the mix, they don't even do it. Like I look at the Rays, who I still believe is like kind of the gold standard of small market baseball. They won 100 games 5 years ago, 86, 99, 80 and missed the playoffs, and they're 36 and 32 this year. That's probably the standard that you need to operate by. They made the playoffs in 3 out of those 4 years. They could make it 4 out of 5, depending on what they do this year. That doesn't mean I'm just like, the Royals can't do anything if they miss the playoffs this year, but they still have, I think, enough pieces in place that they can be a playoff team, especially because of their pitching. Do I think
but just
now
let
I
it
feel
play
good
out,
about
though.
it?
Just
Let it play out.
Let it play out, and then you make a decision in July if you should be aggressive or just kind of sell and see if you can find a piece for the future without totally destroying the team this year.
Especially because you're only 2.5 weeks into all the changes, right?
Yeah. No, look,
Tags and
I think we all admit with where they're trending, the way it's trending, you don't feel pretty good about them being within a game or two of a playoff spot here in about 3 weeks. But baseball is very weird. This is not a conversation of like, do I think that they're playing good baseball? Do I think that they're going to go on a run? Right now, no, my answer is no. But you don't have to on June 12th to say it's time to sell or they're not good enough anyway, so what's the point? That doesn't make any sense to me.
We were talking about the NBA Finals. I do kind of want to talk about the Knicks at some point because whatever the hell they're doing
it's hilarious.
Is very funny. They fired their coach, which I thought was a mistake at the time, and have now tried to call 5 different NBA teams to try to just get their coach, and it turns out nobody's actually willing to let him do that. But let's talk about the Finals for just a minute because Drew's squad got Game 3. Are we giving the Pacers a real chance to win the NBA Finals now? I actually can't believe any reason not to think that. Halliburton has been, once again, the best player in any given series, even better or as good as SGA has been in this series, even though I think overall he's a better player. I kind of think the Pacers have a real shot here. I mean, at this point,
we'll definitely have a
getting
shot.
Game 3,
I'd
I'd still favor, like if you made me on an even money bet, I'd still bet the Thunder, but I think this is more like a 60-40 series all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean,
55-45.
I think the Thunder are evening this thing back up here in a couple nights, Friday night. I think they even it up tomorrow. But do the Pacers have a chance? Of course. Yeah, they're up 2-1 in a series, and they have shown in this past game was even more impressive because it was competitive throughout. And you did not have to. You weren't going on a deep run. Like this showed that they were able to hang with them for a full game and then come out on top. Not they're getting outplayed, and then kind of have a miracle comeback again. No, this was more impressive what they did yesterday. So yeah, they have a chance. I'm kind of with you. If I still had to predict the series, I think it's the Thunder. I thought it was going to be in 6 before it ended. I think it's at least going that now.
I thought it was always 6.
I thought it was 5 to start. I definitely don't think it's 5 now, obviously.
Yeah.
Something tells
Can't
me,
be 5
Cody.
for the Thunder.
Something tells me, Cody,
math.
it might be a little difficult for that.
Correct. They have to reverse time in order for that to happen.
Build a time machine and then go back and actually not blow Game 1.
I mean, the 2 stars of the game yesterday were T.J. McConnell and Ben Mathurin. Ben Mathurin had 27 off the bench, which is his playoff career high, and then T.J. McConnell was just electric in every way possible. Passing, stealing, defensively, making plays. I mean, they had 30 bench points at halftime. Like they just, it was the bench. Pascal Siakam had a good game. Tyrese Halliburton obviously had a really good game, nearly a triple-double. Miles Turner had maybe the clutchest defensive possession after he had a miserable game in the fourth quarter where he blocked Chet Holmgren twice.
That one block on the 3 was huge. Blocking Chet seems impossible.
I think the Thunder
to block.
I mean, I think the Thunder were tired yesterday, which is again the way the Pacers play. If they can run, you will get exhausted.
And they can do that at home. I think that's where they almost feel like the Pacers have to get up 3-1 for them to win this series. I don't know if
you think
they
if it goes 2-2, they still.
I don't think they're going to win playing that. Like they don't play that same style down in Oklahoma City. They won the first game. We know about the comeback, but like the way they played last night, I don't know if they can do that on the road. That would be my biggest concern. I think the Thunder win it in 6 still.
Do you think they rattle off 3 straight?
I don't think it's crazy. They've still been. They were. I mean, I will not ignore the fact that they were the best team in the entire NBA the entire year. You've pointed out the Thunder and the Pacers are the 2 best records of the second half of the year.
Yep.
Thunder to maintain that all year long. They still have the best player on the floor, in my opinion, even if Halliburton's playing better.
Agreed.
So, like, you know.
SGA for sure is. I mean, the odds, by the way, Thunder minus 230 to win the series.
They still think minus 230?
Pacers plus 190. MVP odds, SGA minus 240. Halliburton plus 270. Series to end in 5 is plus 980. To end in 6 is plus 110. To end in 7 is plus 104. That's just where the betting markets are at. Obviously, before the series, the Thunder were minus 800. So just because that's what the odds are doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. But for our Cashout Bro out there, he's in trouble. He's in a little bit of trouble. Both his series, he needs, the teams are down 2-1.
It's going to be a bit tough, at least on that end. I do. The Knicks stuff cracks me up. I know we don't have a lot of time to talk about it now, but the idea that they fired their head coach and that their apparent plan was, what if we just take somebody else's coach? They'll totally let us. And didn't
Had no plan in
make
place.
sure the coach would leave first.
Unbelievable. Yes.
Before firing their coach. Like, can you back channel it or something?
Yes, usually you can.
What
you
on
can
earth are you
have
doing?
agents reach out to agents, I should say. Yeah, it's been hilarious to watch. You fired a coach with no plan, and now Quinn Snyder's telling you no. Jason Kidd and the Mavericks saying, heck no, you're not talking to our guy. Like all this kind of stuff.
Who are they going to get stuck with?
I have no
Mike
idea.
Malone or Mike Budenholzer?
I mean, Malone wouldn't be a terrible hire, honestly, but still, it's just embarrassing the way they've approached this whole thing to this point. But yeah, Mike Malone.
I mean, that'd probably be my hire at this point.
Do you want that job if you're Malone? You want the New York market? Do you want that?
You can just change. Yeah, whatever.
I think he wants to coach, so I think he would take
But he'll
it.
have other opportunities. Don't you think is something else going to open up?
Yeah,
or,
but how
or
much
is it
better
solidified?
are you getting a better opportunity
Than Brunson and company? Fair.
than the Knicks? I mean, there's more pressure.
Yeah,
but
the pressure is the part, and maybe he doesn't care. He's already got a ring, and he's already been fired, so he's like, yeah, what do I have
Right
to
now,
lose?
the offshore markets have Malone as the favorite.
Okay.
Depending, Johnny Bryant being mentioned as well. I don't know.
I don't know a lot of the assistant coaches in the NBA, so I don't know.
Who the hell's Johnny Bryant?
I think that would be a significant I mean, it's a risk anyways, but it's a significant.
They shouldn't have fired Tibbs.
It's a significant risk if you go from Tibbs to and the best season you've had in 25 years to an assistant.
Johnny Bryant, assistant in Cleveland, young, just 39 years
Good
old.
and up and coming. I mean, he interviewed for a lot of positions that were
Is
smaller,
Thibodeau
but-
supposed to? People think he's going to coach again, or is he done?
No, in the NBA, he'll almost certainly be a coach again.
I have no idea.
We joke about retread in the NFL. Nobody loves a retread coach like the NBA.
I mean, he's
That also is
67.
true.
He's 67.
Because they'll fire you for nothing. Malone was a champion like a year ago, and a day before the playoffs, they fired him. If you think you're safe in the NBA, you aren't.
All right, coming up next, something special coming to Kansas City a year from now, and we'll get to the random question of the day.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Talking earlier about, renting my house out for the World Cup in Kansas City because of all my decks. You know why? Because I trust the people over at All Weather Decks. Let them build your dream deck. More importantly, lumber prices are getting ready to go up across the entire metro, no matter who you use, which is why All Weather Decks wants to help you lock in that price now and start building your dream deck now. Have them come over to schedule that free estimate so you can see for yourself the kind of work that they can do. There's pictures of their projects over there on their website at allweatherdecks.net. And they're a 24-time winner of Angie's List Super Service Award, so you know the quality of service and the quality of work you're getting. Reviews, their work, the services they provide, wood decks, composite decks, outdoor kitchens, fire pits. Doesn't matter the outdoor project, All Weather Decks will take care of it for you. Check them out at allweatherdecks.net or give them a call, 913-206-1974.
GiveMeTheVin.com wants to buy your car, whether it's your daily driver, pickup, SUV, exotic, or classic. Now we're even better with the GiveMeTheVin.com Big Cash Giveaway. Win $25,000 in cash every month to sell us your car to increase your odds of winning. No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. That's right, 0% APR for a full 5 years on both Rogue and Pathfinders. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months or even 84 months for just 3.49% APR. Plus, get up to $6,000 rebate on
Nissan Frontiers. These are some of the lowest rates we've seen all year. Don't wait. Inventory's moving fast, and you'll have a hard time finding any Nissan dealer in Kansas City with a better selection. Go to Reiselman.com for complete details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. But what if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you could sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9393 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Human trafficking is occurring right here in Missouri. You can help combat it by learning the signs of human trafficking and reporting suspicious activity to law enforcement. Victims may appear malnourished, show signs of mental or physical abuse, or avoid social interaction. If you're a victim or know someone who needs help, contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888 or text the word HELP to Be Free. Together, we can fight human trafficking in Missouri.
Brought to you by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Listening is so important, and that's what Dawn Sharp does. She listens to her clients' needs. Buying or selling a home is stressful, and you want an agent who puts your needs at the top of every single list. And you want to contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Ask them about their instant offer program. You can Google them at Sharp Homes Team, or better yet, pay them a visit at homesforsaleInKC.com and start packing.
Introducing the new Dell AI PC, powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps do your busy work for you, so you can fast forward through editing images, designing presentations, generating code, debugging code, summarizing meeting notes, finding files, making a schedule, and responding to Jim's long emails. Leaving all the time in the world for the things you actually want to do. No offense, Jim. Get a new Dell AI PC at Dell.com/AI-PC. How those ahead stay ahead.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Add some star-spangled style to your summer with Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale going on now. Shop Hot Buys for every room in your home, now just $6.99. Plus, you can save up to $1,000 store-wide. And don't miss upgrading your patio. Save up to 20% on select outdoor furniture. Or feel the freedom to buy now and pay over time with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey. More like Mirajoyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold. Hope your Thursday is doing great. Lunch hour. Grab some lunch at one of our lunch sponsors throughout the week. Make sure you check them out. I could absolutely crush some tacos right now. Just crush some.
I believe one of our lunch partners is bringing us tacos next week.
That is true. Now you're going to miss out, man. You're driving to Dallas next week. You're on dad duty, dance dad for a week and a half.
Dance dad duty. And this is the thing.
Can you do one thing? Will you have time? This is for me selfishly.
Sure.
While you're gone, because I want to go to this place, and I'm not going to Dallas next week. You are. If you have time, go to Cosm in Dallas, please.
Is that like virtual, like?
Yes, it's the mini sphere, basically.
Yeah.
For those, so you guys all probably know roughly at least the concept of the sphere in Vegas. Well, in LA and Dallas, it's fairly new. It's only been open for a year, and I really want to go. It's called Cosm, and for any mega sports event, or they'll have a featured NBA game, or if you next week during the NBA Finals, if it's still going on. You can buy tickets. They're a little pricey.
It's not in LA too, right?
Yeah, it's not something you're going to watch every single night. Like this is you do it occasionally, a special event. But you buy tickets, and in this room, you're in. It's like you're sitting courtside for everybody though, or you're at a soccer game and you're sitting pitch right there on the pitch, or you name it, right? NFL Sunday, basketball game, you courtside. Sometimes you're on the baseline as well. It just depends. And if you go and look at the video of this place called Cosm, it is unreal. I can't wait to go. You're going to be right there.
Looks like I could watch The Matrix while I was there.
Don't do a movie. You need to go for a sporting event.
NBA Finals Game 4, which obviously I will not be in town there for. They're already listing, obviously, the Stanley Cup games and those. They got the U.S. Open, but I won't be there in time for that.
Man, can you imagine if the Stars were in the
well, they did it there.
Final?
If you go on their Instagram, because you can really see the videos.
Space stuff, The Matrix, and then obviously the Stanley Cup and the NBA, because there's not a lot of
sports calendars lighter right now, so they have a bunch of specialty stuff. But a college football Saturday, like Ohio State, Michigan, that'll be the game that Saturday. And they'll have a whole schedule weeks in advance you can buy tickets for. This is on my list. If I get to Dallas or something, I want to go check this place out. I'm not planning on going to LA anytime soon, so Dallas seems a little more feasible. And the Instagram videos, if you guys check it out, you'll know what I mean. It looks amazing. Cool. It's technically in Colony, Texas, which is a suburb, but they still list it as Dallas. It turns out you can list things of those cities, even if it's not in that city.
Text line said suburbs don't count.
That's true.
I will say, if you were on the it's not Kansas City because it's on the Kansas side, if that is your stance, and I've made these points before about other stuff that I didn't think made any sense. If that is your stance, you better live in Kansas City. You can't be in Gladstone or Platte or any, it better be it better be Kansas City if your stance is it's not Kansas City if it's in Kansas.
I'm gonna start saying that I live in Wyandotte now, which I technically do, but I'm gonna say Wyandotte. I'm not gonna say KCK anymore because I'm gonna say because Kansas City, Kansas. I don't know if that's a thing. Kansas City, Kansas.
If you're visiting someone you're down in the Gulf Shores, somewhere, where are you from? You say Kansas City. We all
Bonner
say Kansas
Springs
City.
is what I'll say.
Bonner, but you don't live in Bonner Springs, do you?
No. My address says Kansas City, Kansas. But I didn't think that was a thing. Kansas City's only in Missouri, so I'll say Bonner. So I could say Bonner Springs, which is maybe 5 minutes.
What time did you say this Cosm place is in?
It's in the Colony, Texas.
The Colony, Texas.
I think it's a nice suburb.
The Colony, the Ohio State.
I think it's a very nice
part
suburb.
of the city.
How did they put the?
The city's called the Colony.
I think it's a very nice suburb. Anyway, but no, Cosm, you should check it out if you have time while you're down there for a week and a half or so. I believe there's different levels. You have to look it up. One of the levels is where you want to sit. One of the others, it doesn't feel as cool, if that makes sense, from the experience part of it.
It looks like the lower level is
I think that's
the better
right.
one.
And yeah, you can,
videos.
You buy tickets, and depending on where you sit, it's not like the cheapest thing in the world. It's not something you're going to go watch a game every night.
If we go to Vegas again this year, I'm doing something at the Sphere. I don't care if it's just like the movie on nature. We've been to Vegas I've been to Vegas 4 times in the last 18 months.
For those things, I picture space related things being very cool.
Yeah, totally agree. Like, I don't know if I want to just like watch a movie. I don't know if I'm buying a ticket just to like hang out in the mini-sphere and watching The Matrix. Like, I like The Matrix.
Yeah.
Great movie.
The Sphere, though, I was told, though, I don't like heights. So someone said, though, if you're way on the top, they're like, oh, you're good luck. Good luck. Someone told me good luck because I guess it's very steep.
No good for you.
But no, that's why this one in Dallas at some point. Someone says good luck with the Dallas traffic as well. Well, you're not going to be driving all over the city, are you? You're going to be staying near the convention where your daughter's dance recital
Will Rogers Convention Center, which I assume every convention center in the Texas area is named after.
Is it downtown?
It's outside. It's like
another suburb, huh? You're in Arlington?
A different suburb. It's
Arlington?
Frisco? No. Which one is it? It's not Arlington.
It's not?
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth, the Stockyard District.
Fort Worth, Texas.
The country.
It'd be in the Stockyard District area.
That's why it's named after Will Rogers,
Yep.
Should rename it after somebody remembers.
According, so I have a friend who
not this again.
One of my best friends lives in Dallas.
Will Rogers.
Well, one of my best friends lives in Dallas, and he says it's Fort Worth and Dallas are basically they're together, but they are two different cities in terms of like the vibe that you get.
The Stockyard
It's
District is very different. Yeah, it feels more like Texas than Dallas's big city.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's more like Fort Worth is the more country
Dallas,
music.
I actually really like Dallas. It's one of my favorite cities. It's not in the top 3, but it's up there. I've told you I lived in Houston. Dallas is way better than Houston.
Might have stuck around longer if you actually lived in Dallas, not Houston.
No,
probably don't have good memories of Houston.
Yeah.
Do people there say Houston or is it Houston? Because because that also is a thing.
Houston. Both.
Shout out to Tony Kornheiser. Whenever I'm watching PTI, he always says Houston.
Yeah. Both, but Houston. It was the majority.
Say the H because it's there.
Multiple places. I mean, heck, when I lived in Boise, that was the whole thing. People would always say Boise. It's Boise.
It's definitely
It's not. There's no Z. But people like outside it would say Boise.
I don't
it's not
think
Boise.
I've ever thought that hard.
It's not Boise. It's Boise. Anyway,
I probably
thinking of places and events and celebrations. We're a year out for the World Cup in Kansas City. The 16th of next June will be the first match in Kansas City at Arrowhead. And I was trying to think of the excitement with it. I don't think it's going to really pick up until we know who is coming to Kansas City, what countries are coming to Kansas City. And we were looking this up. It could be as late as next February, I guess, before we know for sure which countries are coming, depending on the qualification process and everything, and what teams. We know we're going to get a round of 32.
We don't know the field yet, obviously, and it's a much bigger field this time around.
Yeah. And you and I think have talked about this. We've gotten to go to some pretty cool stuff. Fortunately, the World Cup is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And if we can make it work financially, I'm going to find a way to be there because it's something that we're probably never going to get in Kansas City again in our lifetime.
I doubt it. I mean, it seems like a once in like the NFL draft. Like maybe the Chiefs will get the draft again, but it'll be 20 years from now or something outside of that if it's ever going to happen. Maybe if they ever build a new stadium, maybe the longest of long shots or whatever, we get a Super Bowl or something in this town. World Cup only happens every 4 years and is a massive, massive event. And truth is, we're not LA or New York or some of these other markets that will like get an Olympics or get these other events that can take place. So this is probably the biggest world event I will ever get to attend. So yeah, if I can go to a World Cup, I'm going to. The initial excitement was all there when they announced it. Wow, the World Cup is going to come here. This is really cool. What an amazing event. Oh, like Kick Rocks, Nashville, whoever the hell. Who do we beat out? St. Louis?
I think we beat out St. Louis.
Denver?
And yeah, was it Denver?
I think Denver was one of them. Yeah, we got you. They chose us. We're one of the best soccer cities in the country. Look at our purpose-built stadium, only for women's soccer, one of a kind in the world, all that stuff. Felt very proud. Now, it's a little bit like the stadium talk in little ways for us, which is like, I'm going to need something else to happen before I'm like amped on this one now. I'm going to need you to tell me the 48 teams, and probably more importantly than that, tell me the teams that are coming here. And I want one. The truth is, I want one big dog. I want Argentina or Brazil. Can I just get one major team in the group? England, Argentina, Brazil, one of the big dogs.
Remember, there's
US.
a chance, too, one of the countries will have their, like, quote-unquote, base camp in Kansas City as well. So you may not get multiple matches from that country, but there's a chance that Germany could be based in Kansas City and still play matches in some other areas, too. There's part of that can play into this. But, yeah, I mean, that'll dictate the interest. I also just think depending on the country we have, will dictate where the ticket prices are. I'm not talking about secondary market. There will be the face value will be the face value, but then the secondary market could be crazy depending on which country we have here. I mean, if you had Brazil or Germany here, the ticket prices for those matches are going to be crazy, I would imagine, on the secondary market. But
the match that you'd have to go to, like if you wanted to like limit how much you spend, but also go to see like Germany or Brazil, you would have to hope that one of the countries that's like in the 40 to 49 or in the 40 to 48 range is also in the group where
what, like Ghana or something?
Sure. Germany versus Ghana is going to be cheaper than Germany versus I don't know, throw in Colombia, you know.
Sure.
I will say I will go to anyone I can get in for.
Even if it's not Germany, you just want to go to a World Cup match.
I don't care if it's the
with
two tiniest countries.
You want to say you went
that are I want to go to a World Cup match. That has value to me. And I don't like in Golden I've talked about this, like, you know, I get to a couple Chiefs games a year. I get to my 10 or 15 Royals games a year. I like sports sometimes in the oddity. This isn't an oddity, but this is as Gold pointed out, most likely, this is the only World Cup that will be in Kansas City while I am a living person.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
I really think so. And that'll be the draw for a lot of people. And there's a ton of work still to be done before we get there, obviously. But I just think we're 300, I think we're officially 363 days and some odd hours away from the World Cup beginning. Now, the first U.S. match they already announced, I think, is going to, no matter who they play, will be in L.A. And then the first World Cup match period of 2026 will be in Mexico, June 12th of next year. And then we'll just see where the groups lay out and everything. But yeah, it's going to be quite the event. And the question I'll have for the ticket prices too will just be, where does everything at? There's so many external factors. How many people are traveling into the United States, traveling to Kansas City? And that's something that could actually lower the price of tickets.
Do we, just out of curiosity, does how good the U.S. is involve your excitement level at all in this?
Oh, it amps it up for sure.
Okay, I'm just like, I didn't know if that changed because
I mean, if the U.S. is
playing
doing well,
bad right now, it's like a city-based thing, but I still want the U.S. to be good. To be like, that's when I'm into the World Cup the most. It turns out when the U.S. has a team that is like, can win a group stage or get to the knockout round or make the World Cup, unlike the last time when they just didn't even make it. Not to worry about that this time, obviously, as a host country. But.
Yeah, Kansas City, I think, will have excitement no matter what. But in terms of when the matches get to round of 32 and then a quarterfinal, if the U.S. somehow is still around, that would cause you to be more excited about the quarterfinal in Kansas City. Just not that they would necessarily play here.
Because you would have seen a World Cup match and now they're there.
It would feel like it would be, because them being even in the group stages, like it's fine. But when I go back, it was probably 10 years ago, like 2014, when they played Belgium in that World Cup game in the quarterfinal in the knockout stage. Like they finally made it out of the group. They got to a night, and it felt like there were watch parties all over the place. We had a huge one in, down in Indy.
The watch parties are why Kansas City got this thing. The live shot that has been carried
for Power and Light,
for every U.S. soccer match, men's or women's, for the last 10 years, being that scene down in Power and Light is why a huge reason, I think, why Kansas City won a World Cup bid.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it gets used over and over and over again as a spot to be like, well, let's cut in live to see how the U.S. fans are feeling about their match. Straight to Kansas City, straight to a huge fans of people walking. And I think that's also why the KC Current felt comfortable building their stadium and everything else in between. I'm really interested in that part of town and how it develops over the next 10 years. The stadium down there's nothing really by it yet, as you know, Gold, including extreme lack of parking to go there for all the downtown stadium people.
They played this weekend.
But there's just like, they're starting to develop a lot down there, and I'm curious.
Well, the streetcar finally is going to get to that.
Is it open yet?
Not yet. Getting close.
The UMKC one, I think it's going to be the fall. Like, they're just in the testing phase now. Make sure, it's not going to.
I think next soccer season, so again, before the World Cup, is when it'll go right to the Current Stadium and stuff.
We expect one of the teams to probably practice at the KC Current Stadium.
Yeah. Again, that goes on. This is funny. This goes back to the stadium conversation. It is a joint bid for the World Cup. We say Kansas City. Guess who also is involved in the money for the World Cup? The Kansas side of the state line, too. So that's why I always get a little annoyed when we talk about like this, what's the KC Metro, what's not. The World Cup bid.
It's defined.
The games are in KC Mo. No doubt about that. It's going to be at Arrowhead. But the state of Kansas ponied up some money for the World Cup as well. I believe Sporting Kansas City's facility might be utilized for the World Cup as well. So that's where I get this idea that, like, if it's not KC Mo, it's not Kansas City, always drives me crazy. We are all a metro area.
I'm pretty sure it's clearly defined Kansas City as certain counties, which
5 counties in Kansas.
Okay. I was going to say.
Yeah, 5 counties in Kansas are part of it.
Doesn't surprise me.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew. Text line 913-586-7965. Of course, you can hit us up on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. We live stream the show, interact with you over there. Over on Twitch, someone said, make sure to get yourself some snakeskin boots while you're down there in Texas.
There you go, Cody.
Yeah.
Get yourself a cowboy hat. I want to see a photo of you and
Me in a cowboy hat?
Yeah.
When the hell am I going to wear that thing?
When you're there.
Just there, only when I'm in Texas.
And then for a future event.
Could it be like are cowboy hats like good lake hats where you're trying to keep the sun out of your face? Could a cowboy hat be a good lake hat?
It's certainly a choice.
Cody's going to be in a rocking chair on the dock, passed out, cowboy hat down, and just
you got to have one foot kicked up like it's an old cigarette ad. Just like a cowboy with one knee popped, at least on the other end.
Someone says, did you guys grow up in the metro area? Yeah,
yes.
Actually, as a matter of fact, yeah.
Yep. I lived in Kansas City, Missouri, a huge chunk of my life, but in different parts of the city. Midtown, Northland. My mom moved around a lot, so different parts. And then I still live in the metro now.
Up until after college, I lived in Kansas City area.
Except for the times you were out of town for work, you've lived in the metro area. Yes, that's correct. My question is not about cowboy hats or the things I should buy while I am in Texas. Maybe we can get to that tomorrow. But instead, about if you've ever been asked this or you think anyone actually cares. Because as it relates to football, Steve Spagnuolo made it very clear yesterday on the New Heights podcast. He does not think this one thing matters while taking a shot at Travis Kelce. He was, of course, talking about football knowledge versus college GPA.
I mean, I value what I call football get it.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to be a 4.0 student in college. I mean, I don't ask about GPAs, right? Trav wouldn't be able to play defense if we were asking about GPAs.
Trav, what a shot.
That's fine.
From Steve Spagnuolo, Trav wouldn't be able to play defense if we were talking about GPAs. I remember famously Eric Hosmer wearing a shirt around the stadium that said C's get degrees for a while. My question for you, and this is more for probably the people outside us because we work in radio, so they definitely don't care. Do you think any workplace, or how many workplaces do you think actually care about your GPA or even bother to look into it? To teach at UMKC, I technically had to send him a transcript, and I'm not even sure they checked it then. My grades were fine.
I mean, they had you send it in for a reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe that's just like
how many professions?
It's a state institution.
Saying? How many professions?
Yeah, I mean,
like how many jobs do you think actually check that thing?
Nobody
check the degree.
in our line of work and any job nobody has ever asked for diploma to verify graduation. Nobody has asked for GPA. You don't need it for what we do for a living. It's not something they're concerned about.
Any medical field, I feel like you have to.
Are we sure they're checking there? Don't you remember that person who was like the Google CEO who they forgot to check correctly? Didn't somebody become a head coach of a basketball team without them checking?
I think that's different.
Whether they actually have the degree. There's no way they're checking degrees or GPA is my point.
Cody,
they might check to see if you got the degree. No one's checking a GPA.
Cody, if you go to get surgery on your foot, you want a doctor that did well in college, I would assume.
Yeah,
you don't want a doctor that was
checking.
But in the doctor's office, it might have the plaque of their medical degree. It doesn't say with a 3.7 GPA.
Because if they had to put their GPA, I am probably skipping a few doctors, dude. If I get into the doctor and they're like, all right, Cody, we think you need foot surgery. We're going to take care of that thing. And I look over on the wall and it says 2.2. I'll be like,
you're not taking his
from
advice.
You, it's not. I'm not so sure I need the surgery,
opinion.
doc. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not so sure any of these workplaces are actually checking it. I guarantee you they didn't check it here. I guarantee they didn't even check to see if, like,
no, they don't. Cody, they don't verify
degrees.
Technically
they had to
or
apply.
anything.
You don't think they
double
apply,
check
to make sure I had
they
graduated
didn't make sure
from
that you were.
UMKC.
Yeah, no.
For an entry job in the medical field, I feel like you have to.
Teachers for sure.
Maybe not GPA, but they're definitely at least checking the degree for a teacher. They're not going to let you just teach kids without a degree.
If it's an entry level job, though, I think the medical field you have to have. Like, in order to get in to that club, if you will, of medical personnel,
I
think you have to have a certain GPA or at least a certain...
To get into, like, neurosurgery, yes. Like, to be placed in different specialties, you do have to do well in undergrad.
Like, if you want to be a PT, then...
And to get a good residency. Doctors is probably the only one. But
Doctor
they
and lawyer.
base that on, like, the testing you do outside of it. They might care less about the GPA you got in college and more about the scores you got coming out of college in some of those.
Someone says, as someone in HR, once you have an entry-level job, you can remove GPA from your resume. I never had GPA or anything. On my resume, obviously, it says where I graduated from KU, but it doesn't say it never had GPA.
From the 816, it's turned into a Cinch Line Thursday. From the 816, I worked for a company for 21 years, and I lied about having a degree. I have worked for that company for 21 years. I lied about having a degree.
Doesn't matter now.
I mean, if you're doing the job well, they're not going to go back there and check.
Doesn't matter anymore. Some says you can buy degrees framed with your name on online. Well, that's just, if you're just doing that, you're just at some point. What are we doing?
I mean, I don't think there's any harm.
Yeah.
If it does say minimum experience required, I don't see the harm in lying about it. I'll just be honest.
I'm more concerned that you lied in the interview with me than I am that you didn't have one. I would be way more concerned that you lied in the interview.
But they're never going to give me the job if they find out I don't have one anyway. So they're never going to find out I lied about it.
But I would be more concerned if you got caught lying in the interview than if you actually didn't have said degree. That tells me way more about you.
From the 816 for teachers, not even the degree. They check if you're certified. People can graduate with a teaching degree and not be certified. No certification, no teaching. This goes back to a lot of the other stuff, like how many hours they make someone before they let them cut hair. It's like we could probably reduce. They probably don't need that many hours to cut hair.
It's like what you said. It's not the GPA. It's the testing afterwards. It's the clocking the hours. It's the internships. It's those things that
I can guarantee you no one's ever checked. And I had a good GPA in college. I mean, and I don't think anyone's ever checked it.
I don't think anybody's checked it.
What's yours, Drew? What was your GPA? We didn't check it when we hired you.
My GPA in college was a 3.2 or 3.3, I think.
So he told us this, he told us the story.
But he almost got kicked out.
He told us the story.
I did almost get expelled.
Was it the dean or what was it?
The dean of the school?
It got to the dean dean of journalism.
You almost got kicked out of J school.
I almost got expelled.
What was yours? Were you in the threes?
Not by much though.
Barely.
Yeah, not by much, man.
You said barely.
Yeah, not by much. Not by much.
Hey, that's a B average.
But it's just funny. You're right though. Like one of those things where, unless you are in that select field, it's just the stuff you really cared about at that point. You find out eventually it doesn't matter as much as you thought it mattered, right? As long as you are.
Did anyone ever actually believe the threat of like a permanent record?
No, but that was always fun.
That was always like the one in like high school. This will go on your permanent record. What, like Odyssey when they come to hire me, checking out like what trouble I got into in high school? I don't even think they could release those records. That can't be a real thing.
Geometry is going to be very important. You have to take this class. It's going to be really important.
That was my favorite math
I couldn't tell you the last time I talked about an acute triangle in my life.
That whole thing, there's so many things that you're like, the whole calculator thing was always funny. It's like we all have a calculator in our palm of our hands, usually most of the day. And the idea
you're going to have to learn this. I'm like, I can just plug in this geometry question to ChatGPT. They'll answer it for me.
Well, that's become,
I got to say,
I think that's become
I even need to know it less now.
That's become a big problem, I think, for teachers and professors, though, is with the AI stuff and trying to navigate that.
Because they look again, I think we all can be honest now that we've all graduated college and we've gone and been there and done it. More than half of what you learn in high school in particular, you will never use in your life. It'll be random. Like there's random times where I reference something from my history class. Like, oh, I watched Jeopardy. I actually knew the answer to the question because of a history class that I took. But it's not information that I have to use to survive on a regular basis.
Look, I get it. Every day I don't talk about the life cycle of a plant. I also just don't think it's like bad information to know. Like I don't think it hurts you, Drew, to know about photosynthesis.
Yeah.
Even if daily on this show we don't bring
we're not breaking it down.
We're not breaking down that part of it. I don't think it hurts you to know it either, though.
I'm not breaking down chemistry equations.
Yeah.
We're not bringing Bunsen burners to the.
We should.
Studio.
I'd like more Bunsen burners and science experiments in fan club.
Yeah,
that would be entertaining.
I thought in sports radio we would be dealing more with Erlenmeyer flasks and things like that than we are. It's a little bizarre. All right, up next, let's get to the 1 o'clock hour. We're expected to hear from Andy Reid, and if we have to wait a little bit for that, that's fine. We'll talk more about the point we're at with the Royals on June 12th.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
FanDuel is the best place to get in on all the MLB action, from hits to total bases to those home runs. They've got a lineup filled with all your favorite wagers. Or maybe you're looking at pitching. FanDuel has a deep bullpen of bets, from strikeouts to shutout innings. Either way, you don't want to get caught looking. Join today. New customers at FanDuel get started with $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to step up to the plate. That's FanDuel.com/Alex for your chance to score $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official partner of Major League Baseball and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-414-3221. 800-414-3221. 800-414-3221.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education. But that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
It's Rawhide Harley's sign and ride event. No cash down needed. Rates as low as 1.49% APR on select Harleys. But no cash down, sign, and ride away on your new Harley from Rawhide Harley. Save thousands on interest at Rawhide Harley Davidson. For credit on income before the writer ST, low writer S, or road like 3 miles. See dealer for
Name That Famous Father is an exciting, interactive promotion hosted by 96.5 The Fan and Hy-Vee, where listeners will test their knowledge of famous fathers from various industries. Each day, they'll hear clues on air and have the chance to guess their famous father. The more they listen, the more chances they'll have to win $500 Hy-Vee gift card to treat their dad to everything he might need for Father's Day. From cards and gifts to barbecue supplies and more. After 5 qualifiers are selected, one will be chosen to win a $500 Hy-Vee gift card for Father's Day.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
It's time to build that dream deck over at All Weather Decks. Schedule a free estimate today at 913-206-1974 or online at allweatherdecks.net. All Weather Decks, the right deck at the right price.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platforms.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the GPS directions first before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Have you watched Die Royal Decree? How about Chiefs Take Tuesday? Or would you rather Wednesday? Follow us on Instagram at TheFan965 for exclusive video content, giveaways, and behind-the-scenes action. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Ooh, I like this. I like this one. This is you? I like this one. This is different. Some of your other ones have again, I don't know the like music, definitely like Eastern part of the world type of theme to them. This is more normal. I like it.
Yeah,
I like this one. Expected to hear from Andy Reid in a couple minutes. Chiefs head coach going to speak to the media, and actually, he is ready right now on 96.5 The Fan.
All right. So good week of practice up to this point. They've got one more tomorrow. And these are phase 3 practices. Next week we'll start our official mandatory OTAs. Got 3 days of those, so we'll go from there. But it's been a good turnout. Guys are working hard. Appreciate the improvement that they're making, and especially the young guys pushing through these things. So it's a good lead up for them as they get ready for camp coming up here. So with that, time's your
Chargers day today?
Raider Day, yeah, Chargers yesterday.
With regard to Kingsley, still not to you. What tells you he's going to be a more productive player in his new spot than maybe he was as a rookie?
Yeah, first of all, he's got experience, and then he looks more comfortable there. He seems to be picking it up pretty well. Not that we're going full speed contact, but he has an opportunity to go against Chris, and that'll surely help him for the season.
Kind of like Gardner that you bring into the program. What type of veteran leadership? Because Patrick's pretty much veteran now. Like, what type of does he provide to the team?
Yeah, well, he's been there. He started, so he's got that. He's got the confidence of the guys around him. Patrick knows he's been in there and done it, and so they can bounce things off of each other. It's always good to have peers that have played, and you can talk to them about it a little bit. No, I think on game day he'll be great with Patrick. Just what he's seeing from the sideline, and what Pat's seeing when he's in there.
It seemed this portion was well attended by even the veterans. I guess just how impressed were you with just considering the voluntary attendance of the 10 days or 9 days?
Yeah. Really, everybody for the most part has been here. So at some point, and some guys have business things they've got to run out and do. But for the most part, guys have been here and participate, which I've been impressed with. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And a continued theme, I know we asked a lot about Josh Simmons. Just how is he progressing and continuing?
Yeah, you know what? He's doing a nice job. We weren't sure quite how much we were going to be able to get out of him, but he looks strong. He's been jumping in and taking the team reps now with which he was just doing the individual stuff before. and you can definitely see the talent. He's got to keep learning and learning the stuff that Andy's teaching him, and fundamentally, technique-wise. But he sure has a good attitude about it.
Andy, for Sharp Smith, what have you learned about him just since you've gotten him?
Yeah, I like what he does. He's got good speed and good route runner, part of his game. For running backs and linebackers, these are kind of tough camps. So we'll just see how things go once we get to camp. But what we've asked him to do, he's done a good job of.
And with Kingston, just going back to last year, did he handle all that how you hoped he would? What he went through last season?
Yeah, it looked like he learned as he went. It was rough, obviously, early. And expectations are high. You come into a championship caliber team and thrown in there at left tackle, and it's not always the easiest thing for a young guy. So, but I think it was a great experience and I think that'll tell itself out as he goes forward.
Generally speaking, with your young guys, as you work through these phases, are you more interested in what you see on the practice field, the meeting room, or just around the building? What are the things you really look for?
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, you probably evaluate all that. You got a kind of an eagle eye on, and making sure they're handling themselves the right way, and still giving them a little room to grow in there on their own. But you definitely keep a close eye on them.
With Josh, I know with your guys you've had, if anyone's hurt, you kind of know how to make them not do too much. When you have someone who's new to you, you're a little bit surprised if he's doing this much stuff. Have you guys had to say, take it a little bit slow?
Yeah, we've done that. We've done that with him, and he's asked for more, and we've kind of kept backing him up here and easing him into it. So, but you can tell that he rehabbed, did a nice job with it. Obviously, the people that did the surgery did a nice job with it. So he looks like he's in good shape. He's here quite a bit. He's one of those guys that you got to kind of kick out of the building. So.
We know that regarding Trey Smith, Brett has been in talks and trying to work at something out. Is your expectation that he will be participating next week?
We'll see. I don't know that, to be honest. I mean, these things are. We'll see where he goes.
Speaking of the eagle eye, when it comes to, I saw today you were focusing on the receivers a little bit more, and then sometimes you'll go to like running backs. When you're going to these different units, what are you looking out for? Just keeping your quote unquote, as you to use your words, the eagle eye on these specific units.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I can give the guys something just from experience, I try to do that. If you just go on, these guys are great. I mean, they're the best in the world at what they're doing. If you can give them a little nugget, the great players that I've been around, they want that. And so if I see something, I'll share it with them. Their coaches do a great job with it, but listen, if I see something, I'm going to try to tell them.
Andy, I know some of the position coaches last week talked about doing an offensive audit after the Super Bowl. How important is it for you guys to stay innovative and to keep from being predictable so teams can't get a beat on something?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think every coach would probably tell you that, but I think it's important that you keep growing. And there's some lessons you can learn out of that. I told you before, I thought the attitude that they had coming out of that, I'd look for that. How are you going to take responsibility? These guys took responsibility for it. That gives you an opportunity to improve, coaches and players. If you come in and you start pointing the finger at each other, you can't grow, And so, but these guys have done that, and they've had a great attitude this offseason.
We'll do last three. Go ahead, Matt.
Coach Spags was on Travis's podcast this week and told a story about you guys' first meeting when he went down to visit a friend on the staff down at UTEP. What do you remember about that, and how did that friendship grow from there?
Yeah, he was real close with that staff, and I was kind of the new kid on that staff. They had already been there a year by the time I got there, but everybody respected him. They all knew he was a good coach. Some of the guys, like I said, had worked with him. So, I just over the years I got to know him because of that. And that same staff went to Missouri, so Spags was always around, visiting, coming down to learn stuff, and then to see his friends at the same time.
John?
on the Missouri side, Andy Hill is. Can you just talk a little bit about
Yeah,
what he
so,
means to you guys?
Yeah, so Andy retired to golf and fish, so and hunt.
Summer savings.
You're listening to Andy Reid here on 96.5 The Fan. All right, I guess we lost Andy there. All right.
And
Oh,
he's got a
it
good
was just double
relationship
ads.
with Tove and the other coaches, but he was very close with Dave. We'll miss him. Porter's moved over to that, and who's a good young football coach, so he'll do a nice job. But, again, it was nice to have Andy here for the years he was here. Very well liked.
Last one, go ahead.
Coach, we've seen rookies in years past in the offensive skill group maybe take a little bit of time to get implemented in this complicated system, but exceptions of Xavier Worthy and Rasheed Rice in the past couple of seasons. What do you see in Jalen Royals? Do you see that sort of potential for him to get involved in his rookie year?
Yeah, he looks like he's a sharp kid. He works hard. He's strong, a little bit like Rasheed that way. Probably more like Rasheed than one. So he's got a little bit more beef to him, thick lower body. But again, strong, and he's picked stuff up. He doesn't say a whole lot. Very, very quiet. But he picks things up and does a nice job with it.
All right, that was Andy Reid. How about Mac Morey? Look at Mac Morey asking questions at the press conference there. Mac was out at OTAs. You can
He's out there to learn about thick lower bodies.
Check out his Twitter account. Give him a follow if you guys have not already. At MacJMorey25. He's put out some video the last couple times out there at minicamp. I guess technically not OTAs, right? Minicamp and then OTA, mandatory OTA start next week.
They do, and that's why he was asked about Trey Smith and whether or not he'd be in attendance. He's like, I don't know. We'll see. I'll be honest. I doubt Andy is all that concerned about it. He'd rather have him there than not. But he also understands the business side of the sport, and he's had different people hold out before. It's not like this is a new thing that have come out of this before. So if for some reason he's not there next week, I wouldn't worry about it. Two most encouraging things, once again, are about the offensive line.
Yeah.
It's Simmons is actually taking reps already.
With the team, not just individual
With
stuff.
the team
So, yeah.
on June 12th. That is a really good sign, in my opinion. A month and a half before training camp opens up, he's already taking team snaps. That's a really good thing. And the other stuff is that Kingsley just looks more comfortable. He looks more comfortable there. You want to know the truth? Looks more like he knows what he's doing there. You can hear it already in Andy, so we need some of that, obviously, in that left side of the line. If Simmons is healthy, I'd give him at least a 50-50 shot of winning the job.
Yeah, it's all about health. It's all about that and whether or not on day one of training camp in St. Joe, is he available to do what everybody else is doing, or is he held back? And that is going to tell us everything, I believe. I'm still skeptical if he can do that. If he's available on day one and doing everything like Jalen Moore is going to do everything, then yeah, we got a real competition, and he's got a great chance.
It should be day one competition, and may the best man win. You've had too much bad left tackle play for so long to not do that.
Someone says Mac Daddy sounded very official asking that question. It was very much so. Yeah.
I kind of, you know what? I think this is what I like about the talk side versus when I've covered a team, is I don't like being the toned down version of myself. When I've covered stuff like that, you got to be like, Mr. Reid, what do you think about the impending move to? I don't want to sound like that. I want to sound
He's
like a
got little
regular.
bit more beef to him, thick lower body.
A little more beef to him, a thick lower body. Yeah.
Thank you, Andy.
Who was he talking about for that?
I think Jalen
Jalen
Royals.
Royals.
He's got a little bit more beef to him, thick lower body.
You know he's got a thick lower body. Did you guys see the video of
Who?
Debo
Please
Samuel?
tell me.
Did you guys see the video of Debo Samuel running a practice rep yesterday?
He looks.
I gotta be honest, guys. He's looking a little thick.
Yeah, he's not quite Eddie Lacy, though. Let's not go overboard
That's
here.
what Charge called him.
Yeah, Charge, our fantasy football guy.
Someone called him Kelvin Benjamin, and then started with the lines of like he's one Popeye biscuit away from a meal or whatever it was.
I'll be curious what he looks like at training camp. So Debo Samuel's the last, because he also plays a lot of running back, so he's a little thicker. But I wonder if this is even more so than what he was in the past. He's now, of course, a commander.
I gotta say, if I were your buddy Grant, who does stuff in DC,
Yeah, I'll ask him this weekend.
I'll
text him right now.
Today
You know what?
would have almost been, whew.
Here.
Are we sure about that?
I'll find out. I'll see if he answers me. He's on the air. He's on the air because the East Coast, they're already on the air for.
Or if he just thinks, it's probably fine.
I just said
they're not even worried about it.
I said,
Drew, did you see the video I sent you?
Yeah.
He's looking a little big, right?
All I said was, "Is Debo fat?" And I just texted him.
I don't know if he's fat as much as it looks like he definitely has put on a few pounds. He looks fuller even in like the face. Like he looks You know when you can tell somebody's been putting on some weight and
Well, maybe they're
in
going
the
to.
face?
Maybe he's going to line up at running back a little bit more than we realize. You know, he's got to be able to handle the tackles. You know,
hey, yeah.
In order to. No, I'll stop.
I'm going back at. Here, let me watch this video again one more time. I mean, I don't know, man. I knew he was always kind of a bigger player. Are the Niners colors more slimming
than the maroon of the Commanders?
He's only in shells and he's looking pretty big, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit more beef to him. Thick lower body.
Okay. That was Andy Reid. We'll care. I think Kingsley's supposed to talk later. Likely we'll air some of that tomorrow or play clips from that tomorrow because I'm curious if he also feels like he's more comfortable there. Obviously, the left side of the line is the biggest story coming into any part of the offseason this year and will remain it other than can you stay healthy and what's the offense look like once you're in there. But, yeah, I'm more than curious kind of how that battle rolls out. And, again, I don't think they paid Jalen Moore so much money that you can't let Simmons win the job. You spent a first-round pick on him. You can certainly let him win the job if he's healthy. And when they originally drafted him, I just assumed he wouldn't be ready for week one.
Correct. And I'm
but if he's
still
doing teamwork
skeptical.
now, it's
Yeah.
at least plausible.
Yeah, it's a good sign. We'll know, like right now when they're just showing the media portion of limited practice and this is all we have. They're not in pads. It's very easy to time will, like there's no hiding it once we get to training camp. Is he out there working with the ones? Is he out there working with even the twos? But is he available? Like there will be no hiding that. Versus right now, I still think you really don't know how far along they truly are.
No. Somebody asked the question, I think it was the last time we talked about this, it could have been a couple weeks ago, but I remember, is it possible if Simmons is ready at tackle, would they ever consider, since they pay Jalen Moore, having him slide into left guard? Is that ever a consideration? Would that? I think
Jalen Moore never played guard.
That's not where he's played.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know.
I think they would just prefer.
I mean,
based on,
Kingsley was more of a tackle
based
in
on
college too.
Based on their history, they would just like the flexibility at tackle. I've told you that if Simmons is real and he wins a job at left tackle, then you should put Moore and Jawan Taylor in a true battle for right. Let them, like, if Simmons wins it in 2 weeks, let them battle that for right. I know it's a monetary thing for you, and that's not wrong for thinking that. I think it's sunk cost, and you're paying him one way or the
Teams
other.
just don't operate that way usually. $27 million cap hit. Teams usually don't put that guy on the bench.
I just want the best guy playing.
I hear you.
And look, I think you've admitted what's probably more true about that. If that were to ever happen to be middle of the season and Jawan Taylor can't get out of his own way.
After a month or so.
Moore comes in and he loses the job more than out of camp. I'm just saying you should absolutely leave yourself open in that regard because that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, it would have to be terrible play for a month. That's when a change would happen. Heading into week one, I don't see a scenario where Jawan Taylor, if he's healthy, is not playing right tackle for the Chiefs week one.
It is by all account, it is the least likely scenario. I'm not trying to pretend like it's not. It definitely is, but I don't know, man. The camp stories will be Smith, probably, right, at running back. I saw Kareem Hunt say that he's a pretty versatile player because people want to find out if he can be the next Isaiah Pacheco and kind of immediately matter for the team. The left side of the line. And then the rest of it is
going to be Camp Darling's, and the rest will be Camp Darling highlights that look great. But even if the guy makes the team, he's sixth on the depth chart, and we overreact to it. Or I shouldn't say we, some overreact to it.
I'll say we are as a news entity. We're not news, but as an entertainment entity, I get it. We fan the flames of guys like Jack Caglione. We drive some of the hype around a player, sometimes unnecessarily, admittedly. But I blame writers for hyping up. I blame writers specifically for hyping up players none of us have ever heard of or even care about, okay? I saw a link for an article today that said, learn more about Kevin Folsch.
Who the hell is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's why you got to learn more.
I don't want to learn more. For the Chiefs or Royals, Drew didn't even know. He's a Chiefs player.
Okay.
Kevin who?
I don't want to learn more about Kevin Folsch.
F-O-L-S-H or S-C-H?
F-O-E-L-S-C-H. Folsch.
Oh, he's got the. Okay.
Wait, do I need to know
He's got
more?
the what?
Like what do you call that? The above the O's in grammar.
Umlauts?
I think that's right.
He's got the umlauts?
Oh, so
the German?
Is that him or is that just a different? No, that's.
Man, I don't know.
I don't know if he.
I don't know Kevin Folsch.
Oh, that's a soccer player, but it's spelled the same way. But his has the those.
Okay.
Eagles signed tight end Kevin Folsch 9 months ago.
Oh, former Eagle. 24-year-old out of the University of New Haven. I don't care to ever learn any. And Kevin, I'm sorry if you're listening, man. This is nothing.
Yeah, you shouldn't have mentioned Jack's
Actually, I
name.
take
Though.
it
You
back.
should have
This
mentioned
has
Jack's.
nothing to do with you.
You shouldn't have mentioned Jack Caglianone's name because now people in the text center are confused, saying that you're saying you're tempering expectations. No, Jack Caglianone.
I don't remember tempering any expectations for Jack Caglianone.
Warranted hype for him. He's done it. We're talking about the. You guys know the names, the Justin Rosses, et cetera, of the world. That at training camp they make
the LRZs.
It'll be Tyquan Thornton, the player that makes a great catch that gets put out on social media after day 3 of camp, and we try to act like he's the next future star wide receiver. And
because you got to write every day. Sometimes you got to write about guys like Kevin Fulch and his journey to the league. Ugh.
It makes fans more familiar. You know, I can appreciate it. You have to be realistic.
I don't mind telling the story of the player. I just think. We see somebody that maybe if all goes well makes the roster, and we try to I keep saying
like
people
Tyquan
try to
Thornton,
act like, oh my gosh, he's going to be such a weapon. He's going to be on the field for 2% of the snaps all year. I mean, that's all I'm
Make
saying.
a tackle on a punt return, and we'll be like, oh yeah, that guy I could have learned more about by clicking that link.
That's right.
I'm going to click on the link now. I want to know more. I'm going to become an expert on Kevin Fulch.
If they got more than 2 paragraphs, kudos to the writer. That's incredible work. You got 2 paragraphs on him on June 12th. I'm actually kind of blown away on the level of research.
Yeah, the Royals or the Royals, the Chiefs cut somebody yesterday that I didn't even know was on the roster. So
what's his name?
He's like one of the extra mini camp bodies.
I thought he was going to make it, man.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I really did. I thought that was
You
the
know
guy.
who it was?
Oh man, I didn't know they cut somebody. Well, I mean, come on. This time of year, there's a lot of players that aren't gonna make it. You know, they're just around. Are you learning more about him?
No. I was looking for the guy they cut yesterday.
Oh, you're still trying to find it?
Yeah. Here we go.
You know
They
what
signed him because they cut somebody named Siaki Ika.
The
And they signed Kevin Fulch.
Oh, okay.
Siakiika.
I got to be honest. They got like 6 paragraphs on this guy.
It's a great story.
Half of it is including the fact that they cut that guy. You just mentioned. So it's not,
He's wearing number 46 if you're out there.
I'm trying to support this guy the rest of his career. I hope he has a great career.
Division II, New Haven Chargers. Sure, that's all you, buddy. That's all you.
Yeah, New Haven, that feels like a school you're familiar with.
Mm-hmm. The Northeast 10 Conference, man. You know, the Northeast 10 Conference. They got some
a powerhouse?
They got some
Is that like the SEC of Division II?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if that's D2. It might be FCS.
They
If
said
it's the Northeast.
No, they needed, in all seriousness, they signed him because a lot of the Travis
it is
Kelce's
D2?
not there, and you have Wiley's still hurt, and so you got a bunch of guys.
I don't think New Haven
available.
is in the top 10 of D2 programs heading into this college football season, so no.
Oh, you only look at the top tier.
Elitist.
Well, I covered D2 for a little bit, and they happen to be in that upper tier. So
Said, is the rugby guy still on the Chiefs roster? No. He's in Jacksonville.
Is he still there, though?
LRZ.
Do we know?
I assume he's in camp with them, or OTAs, or whatever. We're at mini camp.
Well, pretty soon the signed helmet in our office is going to end up being like displayed in my house. I'm just going to display the one autographed helmet in my entire house. Is going to be the one signed by Luis Reese-Zammit.
Let's see.
I'll have to explain it every time someone comes over to it. It's great.
Yeah. This man never actually played it down for the Chiefs, but hey.
We got to get one more score update from Jersey.
He signed to the active roster in February.
Which guy?
Reese-Zammit.
Hey, how about that? Let's
he's
go.
on 53?
And then he was moved from the active roster to the exempt international list, meaning he cannot be signed by another club while he's on the practice squad.
Oh, they want to keep him.
Put him back on the international player.
Yeah.
Hope he takes one snap.
Remember when he went on the date? He went on a date at Worlds of Fun.
I do remember that. With a supermodel.
Yeah.
A Victoria's
Yes, he
Secret
did.
supermodel
Yes,
he took
he
to Worlds of
did.
Fun.
Yes, he did.
They're ready
All
to
right.
play him until they move to the UK, and then they'll get more
That's
Welsh
right.
fans to go out there to the games.
All right, up next, we'll get to what's trending, including Drew's U.S. Open leaderboard update and the latest on the stadium front, and we'll all try to get along next.
This is Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Tune in to hear Royals insider Josh Vernier every Wednesday at 12:30.
We need to nip this in the bud. We need to nip what in the bud?
On your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. That's right, 0% APR for 5 full years on both Nissan Rogue and Pathfinders. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months or 3.49% APR for 84 months. Bought your last car for 6, 7, even 8% interest? Trade it in, drive off in a brand new Nissan, and lower your monthly payment. Plus, get up to $6,000 rebate on Nissan Frontiers. No one in Kansas City has a better selection. Visit Reiselman.com for details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
It's almost Andy Reid. When I landed in KC, I started doing commercials, the whole playbook. That's how I teamed up with Renner Garage Store. For nearly 70 years, Renner has been serving KC with the latest styles, top brands like Deldon, Amar, and LiftMaster, and the trusted service of a family-owned team. Get your free estimate today, and if you're looking for work, Renner's hiring installers with paid training. RENNER forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Go Yard all baseball season long with Underdog's Champions Game. Take a swing at making those baseball entries this season over at Underdog. It's one of the leading places to make all your sports selections, and you can play in your state on the Missouri side. Join one of the fastest growing sports games apps over at Underdog that you can play in your state. Millions of fans have already won billions playing at Underdog. Why not be next? Go ahead and play. Download the app. Choose which player to go higher or lower on your favorite stats. You can choose things like home runs, strikeouts, total bases, and so much more over at Underdog. Once your entry feels good, you can play with as little as $1. So get everything right, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Download the Underdog app today and sign up using promo code TAP to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAP. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See UnderdogFantasy.com/web-deposit-match-terms. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Don't let clogged drains slow you down. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews ensures your peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
The other place with 5 great Kansas City locations: Shawnee, Olathe, the downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. With 5 locations, that means you're never too far away from that one-of-a-kind game day experience, plus enough big screens that you'll never miss a second of the action. And if you want some great food, some great beer specials, and beautiful patios, then stop by The Other Place. The perfect place to make your baseball headquarters this spring. The Other Place, Shawnee, Olathe, the downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. Your home for baseball this spring.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide, a robust new website, and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Primer and Ceiling Paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13, delivery by 8 p.m., subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/score. That's ethos.com/score.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Number one, while the Royals trying to salvage something out of this New York Yankees series. A little after 6:40 tonight, the Royals will take on the Yankees. Vern's On Deck show starts at 5:30. Will Warren gets the nod for the New York Yankees. The Royals need some offense immediately. And how about just not falling behind in the first or second inning? It's been an embarrassing series against the Yankees at this point. Complete domination. You can say, well, what did you expect? They're a better team. Not to lose by 8 runs and 6 runs. Good news, Seth Lugo is on the mound tonight, so hopefully that helps them out a little bit too.
I was hopeful somehow they were going to just have the comeback of a lifetime last night. 6-3. Yeah. Had some chances.
Kag somehow has a 4-game hitting streak, though.
He does. 1 hit pretty much per game, but he's still got the 4-game hitting streak.
4-game hitting streak.
It's well hard still, which matters. Next up on What's Trending, the Pacers get Game 3 against the Thunder last night. 116-107 in Indiana to take a decided Game 3. The Game 3 winners, Gold and I were talking about before the show, 80% of the time goes on to win the NBA Finals. Now, the betting markets still say the Thunder are the favorites, but 8 out of the last 10 times, pretty much, the Game 3 winner wins the series, so we'll see exactly what comes of it. Tyrese Halliburton has not taken a single free throw in the entire series so far, and they're still up 2-1, which is a pretty good sign for the Pacers.
Stanley Cup final continues this evening. Florida and Edmonton.
Big for Cashout.
Been keeping an eye on this because of Cashout Bro, but the Panthers are up 2-1. This one gets going, 7 o'clock tonight, I think it is. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup final.
He still has he's still $60,000 on the table he could take today? Right now?
Right this second.
Oh my God, take it, dude. Dude, take it. Yeah. Take the money. We can talk more about it.
Down in both series.
I know he's down 2-1 in the money.
What are you doing? There's still $60,000 for your $13 bets.
And he clearly is not going to take it. He turned down 123. He's not going to take 60. He's either going to win 270 and have both teams come back in their series, or he's going to get nothing. And yes, he got a couple free trips and some media attention, but that nobody's going to care, and nobody's going to remember who you are in about 3 days. So.
Next up on What's Trending, the Bengals' first-round pick, Shamar Stewart, has officially left minicamp today with his continued contract issues with Cincinnati still a problem. He had said he didn't want to be a distraction. Final day of minicamps, at least today. But he was at least at the facility and not practicing. He has now left the facility and not attending. It all comes back to some language in the contract they wanted to add that would allow them some voiding of guarantees down the road if he wasn't working out as a potential draft pick. To be clear, those don't exist in any of their current contracts for players like that in first-round picks or for any player who is picked at that level in the NFL. So Cincinnati's kind of trying to pull one over on this one. Shamar Stewart's not falling for it, is my opinion of the matter, and I think most people's. public opinion of the matter, they got to figure out some way to work this out. But he's done. He's not even showing up to minicamp anymore.
It's just an embarrassing mess.
It's the last day. I think that him leaving minicamp, it's the last day of minicamp. It doesn't. They're done.
He's
after
a
this
rookie,
anyways.
though. He hasn't been able to get any of the same work as everybody else.
I know. I agree with the premise of it, but him leaving minicamp today is not a big deal. It's just the contract stuff. I mean, if he was there today, it wouldn't have mattered because it would still be the same problem.
But it's still causing a bigger scene for the team by not showing up in a way, right? Like
him standing there and not. It would be another picture for, hey, he's here and he's not talking to anybody and he's not stretching. He's on. It would have been. I don't think it would have mattered regardless. But you're right, Cody, in the fact that
they're trying to do something nobody else does.
So I found out what they currently do is they default a year on the same. They would void a year on the same year that's guaranteed, where the Bengals are now potentially defaulting on any year in the contract, which is
they
different.
They want to be able to cut him whenever.
Yes, correct.
Tough. I mean, he was first round pick. Why do you guys want to cut the guy already? You took him 17th overall.
If you felt the need to do this, then you shouldn't have drafted him.
Agree.
If that's the premise of what we need to bank on.
I think it's just trying to save a few bucks.
Saving our ass.
Lastly, on what's trending, someone pointed this out to us earlier, but Jacob Mizorowski, you're like, who is that? Well, he is a starting pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's making his big league debut tonight for Milwaukee against St. Louis. He's from the local area, which is kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
He's from Grain Valley, Missouri, and he's one of the top prospects in all of baseball. 6'7". 6'7". Yeah, anyways, he's making his debut. Congrats to him. Kind of a cool connection. The story to go with this, though, is so Aaron Savali.
He's skinny.
Yeah, he's a young kid still, I think, right? And he's still only 23. I don't know what his.
I guess the last 6'7" player I saw was Aaron Judge. So by comparison,
well, so
on the mound though, I mean,
so Jacob Mizorowski, by the way, he's 23. He took a starting spot in the rotation because he's their top prospect and he's their future. Aaron Savali is a veteran. He got kicked out of the rotation for him, and now he said, "I want to trade." So he's mad. He got kicked out of the rotation, so now he's requested a trade.
Okay. I mean, I can't blame him if he wants to be a starter. Royals could be in the starter market all of a sudden, as much as we talked about hitting, and I still think that's what they have to target. But where was he is he
prospect
a top 100
rank?
prospect?
That's what I was pulling up as I speak.
I was trying to look it up here on MLB.com's MLB pipeline.
He was not in the top one. He was number 68. There you go. Top 50, but he's number 68.
Yeah, I see him. Yep. Okay. Good for him.
6'7", 197.
Goodness.
From Grain Valley, Missouri.
Good for the Grain Valley kid. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck in your debut tonight.
Let's get to a little U.S. Open leaderboard updates. Drew Nixon, take it away.
They continue to go really bad for Rory. Tell me that first.
Yeah, the day continued to go very poorly for Rory at Oakmont, site of the U.S. Open. Rory ended his day at +4 for the tournament. If you're curious where that puts him, he's tied for 85th after he went 4 over par the last 4 holes, really went 4 over par in 3 holes to cap off his round. He is tied with the likes of Matt Fitzpatrick, Wyndham Clark, Phil Mickelson also currently at 4 over, Tommy Fleetwood, Hideki Matsuyama, a number of players there. Gary Woodland ended up at +3 gold for your KU guy. Colin Morikawa's through 4 holes is -1. He's tied for 7th. So
perfect.
Again, I don't want to burst your bubble though, because Gary Woodland also started at 1 or 2 under. And he ended up at +3. So
I have actual
money
money on Colin though. Top 5 or win.
Clubhouse leaders, JJ Spawn, he fired a 66. He is in the clubhouse. Tristan Lawrence, the South African, is at -3, solo second. And Siwoo Kim also at -2. He is done for the day. Other names, Brooks Koepka, -2 for the tournament. After a really bad PGA, he's seemingly bouncing back from that.
You told me not to bet on him. It's going to be your fault if he ends up winning. You told me don't bet on Koepka.
He can still have a blow-up hole. Again, it does seem like the rounds are changing quick.
The way that it seems to, I mean, if you could play conservatively and I think play very well. You're not going to win. But if you were to be like, you know what, I'm taking a 3 iron off of every tee and I'm making sure I hit fairways, you'd probably end up placing in the top 30. Just off of being in the fairways alone and taking yourself out of trouble. Because all it takes, like Rory, he was -1, had one really bad hole.
He was like in the rough for like 4 straight shots, man.
You know, he ended up bogeying that hole too, which is a miracle.
What?
It was a really good bogey.
I can't believe that wasn't like a quad.
Then it blew up on him down the stretch, where if you get in the rough,
I picked up the ball.
If you get in the rough at this golf course,
it's rough.
It's very, very rough, pun intended.
That
is your US Open
That's the
update.
worst golf pun.
I know. Giving Drew a hard time. because he gets annoyed when I do this. What would your score be right now if you were golfing out there, Drew?
Plus
through how many holes?
72.
Through how many holes?
For just today, 18.
18.
Through 18?
Plus 35.
I bet you I would probably shoot 115. So I would.
That's actually a somewhat realistic.
That'd be my guess. For all I know, I might
that's
do
like plus
I might
30?
do I might do worse. I could do
123.
The worst guy in the course today shot a plus 14, so you're definitely worse than that guy.
Yep.
Oh, 100%. I
123.
I think I very much would be worse than.
So there's a 285
Justin
par
Hicks.
3. Yeah, like 285 yards for a par 3.
It is pretty egregious when the guys are taking D-stick out and having to hit
They
driver.
were in
off.
practice range. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're having to hit driver at a par 3. It's it's kind of egregious. As cool as it is to see the major players struggle at times, a near 300-yard par 3 is.
That's always a debate,
not
right? With the
great.
U.S. Open, people are like, would you rather see the golfers just tearing up the course, or would you rather them be challenged?
I'd
It's
rather
the U.S.
them- I think
Open.
it's okay to have one tournament
We're going
where
to
it's
challenge, and that's what the U.S. Open typically is.
Yeah.
It's lower scores, or higher scores. You know,
I'm actually
I
on
will
favor of
say-
that. One course one tournament can be the tough one.
There
Can be
is-
the murderer's row one. That's fine.
In fairness, there is some BS to this tournament, though. It's harder on them, but we're talking about like 5 inches of rough, where it's
trim that a little bit. Come on, what are we
it's
doing?
particularly egregious. In order
You
to
can trim
make
it
them
down.
struggle, the conditions have to be pretty ridiculous and obscene.
Take care of yourself.
as a casual golf fan, I don't want to go out there and watch them struggle. I want to see them make ridiculous shots.
I don't want to see it when they
No,
go
I don't
play
want
in those
22 under.
Yeah,
I hear you.
That's my
Yeah,
problem. It's
I
like
hear
I'm
you.
not looking for that kind of tournament either. I don't mind that the one tournament is the gauntlet, the ultimate Ninja Warrior course, right? I don't care that one of them is like, this is a joke. Like, it's fine. If somebody wins it +1, I'm comfortable with that for one tournament.
The rough looks absolutely insane.
We'll have a better feel tomorrow. It's so early in the tournament. Not everybody's even golf yet.
There's some guys who went lower
as far
than I
as
thought.
where the
Yeah, there's guys who are just now
tomorrow.
starting.
I'll be fascinated tomorrow afternoon where the cut line is projected at
I
that
bet,
point. in
I
time.
bet you the cut line's like plus. I was talking to my brother yesterday about it. Probably +7, +6, 7. Scotty,
Yeah.
by the way, Scotty, I think is even. I
Can't believe he's
I
not
think
10
Scotty's
there.
even through like 4
He'll
holes.
be in the
though.
mix somehow, I'm sure.
he's barely even started.
He played at the Masters. He played the most boring
Scotty's +1 through 4 holes.
Not even impressive 4 rounds at the Masters, and I think he finished third. Drew, it was so nonchalant. Wasn't even impressive at any point in the tournament. He was like third at the end of the Masters.
Yeah. He's ridiculous. Sam Burns is now also tied for second.
Honestly, Roy won't even care if he finishes poorly because he'll still just be excited.
I don't know how he had the third best odds. I was talking to you guys about that yesterday. It made absolutely no sense. He was +9 in the RBC Heritage last week. I missed the
He won a
cut.
major this year. That's why.
You see the photos circulating though from the U.S. Open. So on the course, obviously they have like the leaderboard, or not a leaderboard. They have people holding up the score following the golfers, not the caddy, but there's a name for them. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Guy or gal standing
scorekeeper,
holding
whatever it is.
holding
the
stick
scoreboard holder.
to let you know, identify the golfer and the score. Okay, so if you've won a U.S. Open, they have a U.S. Open trophy next to your name on the little placard. They have it for Rahm and for Dustin Johnson. They don't have one next to Spieth.
Dang.
That's just disrespectful.
Hey,
what do we
man.
do?
It's like, I won
Somebody
that.
screwed up, but come on.
Dang.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, somebody just put a photo out there on. It's
If
got
you
viral
guys,
the
if you
last
guys were
30
to follow
minutes.
somebody, who would you follow? I feel like Scotty's obviously a popular
Not
answer,
Scotty.
but if you were to follow somebody play, who would it be?
Colin or Rory? Probably Rory, honestly. Yeah, probably Rory.
If I were to,
unless Tiger's in a tournament.
Yeah, at this point,
Even
probably,
that, just so you could say you did it once.
At this point, probably Rory, honestly.
I think Jordan Spieth would be a fascinating follow.
Okay, I can see it.
Just because you don't know
Hovland.
what's gonna, just because with Jordan Spieth, you don't know what's going to happen.
You know what? DeChambeau would actually be an interesting one too, though, just because of
Bryson?
yeah.
I was thinking Tyrrell Hatton. If you want to have a laugh, Tyrrell Hatton might be a good one. Tyrrell Hatton actually is playing pretty well, surprisingly enough.
Minwoo Lee, because he's like 21. He just seems like kind of like a young bro on the course. Why not? I don't know. There's a couple.
A young bro.
I mean, it's still tight. I mean, Tiger's still the draw for the sport until he's done forever. I'm not saying Scotty Scheffler. He's just like a
I got
very
you.
plain.
If Scotty
dude.
found a way to win this, and
He's
it was
so good, it's boring.
If Scotty won this tournament and it was like a 4 or 5 shot lead win, we've got to be having him in the same conversation as in terms of Tiger dominance, like level
Does the
of him
course-
being.
We've done that before. You got to wait like another 2 years before I even entertain
I know, but
it.
I think in
I remember
terms
this
of
conversation
him,
with Spieth.
Does the course, like these conditions that change the type of club you use or anything like that?
you would need a custom shaft. All these guys
For
have
these? Well, obviously, they're
all
yeah.
these guys have custom shafts.
Yeah.
I would presume. The
The-
rods or the minis?
I like
put
the.
That was a pretzel conversation, by the way.
Yeah.
I played with stiff shafts. It's not that great.
Look, Scheffler's whole thing about golf, Drew, is he is legitimately so good it's boring. He just hits the ball in the fairway and then hits his club to about 10 feet out, and then he makes his birdie putt 1 out of every 3 times, and then he goes about his day so ho-hum on the go. He doesn't, he's never like in the thickets hooking it around a tree
He's never
like
getting mad
Rory
like
or
that,
Phil
no.
or Tiger. He just puts it in the fairway, and then he hits his green in regulation, and then he 1 or 2 putts, and he either gets his par or his birdie, and then he goes home and wins the tournament. I'm not saying he's not an impressive golfer, but it is like so surgical.
When as crazy as it sounds, too, Rory McIlroy is with how good, because in between Rory's majors, Spieth had a run, Brooks had a run, and now Scotty's having a run. Rory's turning into Phil Mickelson. His career is turning into Phil Mickelson.
That's not a bad,
really good player, but never
felt like they should have won more titles.
Yeah,
but
felt like they should have
obviously
won more
had plenty.
titles. Competition was always somehow better than them. Like if it wasn't for Scotty, it would be Rory.
But he did do but he's going to have something Phil didn't. He's got the Grand Slam.
Correct. Yeah.
What was the one Phil was short on?
U.S. Open. This is Phil's last chance, and he's not gonna. It's not gonna happen. No offense to Phil, but he's not
just
good
past
enough.
his past. Yeah, it needed to happen a long time ago. Yeah,
He shouldn't have won the last.
It was the one that Justin Rose won at Marion. That was a long time ago. I don't remember when that was. 8 years ago, 9 years ago, something like that.
Text line's just giving you a hard time, Drew.
I'm not going to start a. No, I'm not going to do
913-586.
that. I've already got a podcast, by the way. A new episode came out yesterday. 249 miles of college football.
Uh-huh.
What was it covering?
We talk about the house settlement. We talk about what it means for more in depth. What it means for KU, Kansas State, Missouri in regards to how they disperse money, how they utilize it, and then ESPN's FPI. We talked about it a little bit on the show, but they also gave conference champion percentages for for all of them. K-State has a 20% chance per ESPN's FBI to win the title. KU, third best chances in the Big 12. According to ESPN's FPI, they have a better chance than Iowa State, than Baylor, than BYU to win the Big 12.
What could go wrong?
Missouri was in the bottom half. Missouri had a 0.4% chance to win
Last year
the
was their
SEC.
year. Last year was their year. That was their chance.
Same schedule, but obviously Pabula is the question mark.
Yeah. Okay. We'll check that out.
So,
Spotify,
yes.
Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, wherever you podcast. Make sure you check out his podcast as well. Someone says, yeah, they don't like your Phil comp. Disagree. Rory's got 3 wins this year. And then as we pointed out, the Grand Slam. So the Rory to Phil comp, they don't like it.
If you go back to, but Tiger was always in Tiger's shadow, where Rory's kind of fallen underneath Spieth's shadow and
Probably more
Brooks'
Scheffler's than
shadow,
anyone else,
and
but
now especially Scotty's shadow, where it's like
I don't think he's in Brooks' shadow. Didn't he have more titles than Brooks?
I think Brooks has as many as he does, or if not more. I think Brooks might have. How many majors does Rory have? 4?
5? I don't know.
I think Brooks has 4.
All right. I mean, if Brooks has more, then I'll entertain the conversation. But I don't
And
know.
that was over a shorter period of time. We're talking about Rory's whole career.
Yeah, but I mean, we're not. You know how this works. Rory went 10 years without one. Brooks could do the same. Brooks has 5, and so does Rory. They have the same amount. So I don't know if I'd say under the shadow, but yeah, 1 behind Phil Mickelson for total number of titles in your defense. He had 6, 3 Masters, an Open, and 2 PGAs with no U.S. Open. Obviously, Rory's got 1 of each except for 2 in the PGA Championship, but they both got 5 between him and Brooks. But what's the age difference? I don't know. How old's Brooks Koepka?
I don't know, probably 3-4 years younger would be my guess. Because Rory's in his mid-30s now.
Brooks Koepka is 35, dude.
How old's Rory?
I mean, similar age, I'd guess. We've really gotten into a nerdy.
Yeah, we were going to talk stadium, but it's all right. We got a little sidetracked.
36.
Talking some golf. We'll
They're
do
the same
stadium
age.
stuff plenty of times.
The same age. It's not the U.S. Open.
I also
every
think
day,
the expectations are also part of what hurts Rory a little bit. Like he was supposed to be, he was like, this guy could challenge Tiger, yada, yada, yada. It just never materialized.
Yeah, but that's what they say about Spieth and everyone else. They always try to make it about Tiger.
No,
the same was every quarterback. They try to make it about Mahomes. Yeah. It's just because you want You want someone to be that good. Even Scheffler, I think it's way premature for the conversations about the run the Tiger had versus Scheffler. Scheffler has what, 2, 3 major titles?
I don't think it's
Like,
about
you
the.
can't-
It's
you
not
better-
about the majors as
Gotta
much as
be.
it is the.
Oh, we're talking about great majors.
It's not about the majors in terms of it is the ease at which he wins. I think that's the conversation. It's a similar run to how Tiger has been on, where this dude is seemingly heavy favored to win every single tournament he steps foot on. That's the conversation I think is as it pertains to Tiger, because I mean Tiger's still the greatest golfer ever. Scotty's not there, not in that conversation.
You could say he was that.
Clearly, cream of the crop. You gotta relax, man.
You got a lot of Drew drops in there. A lot more than I
Oh, there's
remember.
some good ones. I just discovered a few
There
new
are
ones.
some really good ones.
I forgot about
Andy had
some
a
of
good
these.
one today. In fairness, I didn't have
He
any.
did. Yeah. I mean.